Brews and Views, a podcast where we review movies, give our opinion on what's going on in the world, all while drinking good beer. Crack open a good brew and open your minds for Brews and Views.
Say hey, everybody out there in the internet land. This is Juan Cordero, the one and only, coming at you with another podcast for February 18th, 2021. And I hope you're not listening to this podcast trying to put Gorilla Glue in your hair, because that's not a good idea. Don't do it. Don't do it. Anyway, guys, this is episode 50. We have the old crew back again. So we're going to introduce the fellas here. We have Marlon Riley, a.k.a. Mr. Classic, Brandon Smith, a.k.a. B. Smith, and Corey Nugent, a.k.a. The Nuge. What's up, guys?
What up? Dude, so hold on. I feel like the Gorilla Glue thing, like, that is... That's what is it called? Natural selection working itself out.
Did you see their response on it though?
Yes.
Like Gorilla Glue's response to her on that.
Yeah,
No, it's funny. They
yeah.
put like multiple things going. Well, that's not what it was intended for. I mean,
Well,
I feel bad for her, but
and you know what? The internet is so cruel.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But it's kind of warranted. Like
My cousin is a hairdresser, and I'm arguing with her because if Juan wanted to put glue in his hair or brush his teeth with hemorrhoidal cream, I'm not going to let you do that. I'm going to smack it out. And now, if I leave and you do it, that's on you. But I'm not going to let you do something that stupid.
I'm going to try to talk him out of it.
I feel like Brandon's going to be over here. Yeah, do it.
No, seriously.
Yeah, do it.
I would try to talk him out of it, but if he's like, no, this is the decision for me, man. You can't tell me no. If he Kanye West me and you can't tell me nothing.
This is the same guy who tried to give me Malart. And that shit is
Oh
nasty.
my God.
This is the same
Oh, it's
guy.
the worst. In all fairness, I didn't know it was terrible before I tried to give it to
it's
you.
Nasty.
You saw my reaction the first time I drank that.
Oh, I had to educate you on that, but I was like, you can take it if you want to. I saw you. I was there.
Yeah.
I was like,
No, wait. So then you understand.
Right? What?
You didn't smack it out of my hand. You were like, you can take it if you want to.
Ooh. Well, I mean,
You educated me.
It's just like what Marlon said. You know, it's like, man, I'm not going to make you do it, but if you decide to do it,
Yeah,
then
you were like,
it.
well, it tastes bad. And I'm like, well, how bad could it be? And then turns out he was right. It's terrible.
Hey, was it worse than the other crap I brought over the other day?
Yes.
Malart.
That was worse than that.
Yes. You never had it?
I want to say, yeah, I could swear you gave me some.
Dude, if you could imagine what the inside of an aardvark's butt tastes like and liquefy that is what Malart tastes like.
Yeah, that's exactly what his face looked like.
Yeah,
That
it's
is
so bad.
You've worked on that visual, didn't you?
Dude, no, it just came to me, but it was that bad. It was like, what's the most horrendous thing that you can think of? And then Malart.
And then Malart. Seriously.
What is Malart?
Yes, for the folks who don't know what Malart
You could
is,
try it.
Malart is a
See,
malt
this is
liquor.
this is what we just talked about.
Right.
You're going to be the one egging it on.
It's a malt liquor. It's a malt liquor, and it's like popular in Chicago. The first time I had it,
That
someone gave it to me, and I was like, no wonder the Cubs were, not winning the World Series for 100 plus years, because they were drinking Malart. But nonetheless, we have a colossal show ahead of us. We're going to drink some beer, chat about Black History Month, the Black Lives Matter movement with a Nobel Peace Prize. We're going to talk about some movies and streaming services, and we're going to talk about some other things. We're not going to get all into exactly what we're going to talk about, because without further ado, let's just get into it. Let's talk about it. Where are we going to start out at? We're going to start with Black History Month, because it is Black History Month.
It is.
And, I have to applaud Marlon for posting all the like every day he's posting something new, some black person who done something monumental or hasn't been really brought to the forefront or given the limelight to. And I really appreciate that, because I don't know too much about Black history. What I've learned from school and what I've done on my own research is what I know. So in some of the ones that you put up, a lot of them that you've put up, I didn't really know about it. So thank you so much for educating me and educating everyone else on Facebook about, these black influencers and black people that have done really, really monumental things in the United States and have never really been talked about, and they should be talked about more often.
I think they should. And I just think I'm doing it because it's fun. It's not like it's not a burden. You can surf the web and put in black inventors or fashion or anything really, and a lot of stuff pops up. So if I want to, I've kind of alternated with male and female. But my favorite, I found one of my favorites yesterday. It was Nyla Magruder.
Yeah.
That was my favorite because that was so recent. She's the first black female to write for Marvel.
Right. Yeah.
So-
Yeah.
But a precursor, I was looking at a lady named Jackie Orme, or it's almost Orme or Ormia, Orme. She was the first black female to write comic strips back in the 30s or I won't say the 40s.
She's
Oh,
the
wow.
OG.
So yeah, so she's one of the precursors for like, hey, let's break some barriers here because obviously it's probably a white male dominated industry.
Oh, for sure.
When you remember when Stan Lee started writing, he was had an alias as Stan Lee. I don't know his real name. I forgot his real name, but it's not his real name. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Stanley something.
It's like Leibowitz or something
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
But they didn't want to be known because they aspire to be like novel writers, and if you're discovered writing comic strips, you get blackballed into.
Yeah.
You can't write.
It was kind of looked down on. Like
Yeah.
if you that was your profession, you're like, look at this schmo over here writing comic books.
And now look at him.
Yeah, exactly.
Legend.
Yeah.
Legend. He's gonna live forever, pretty
Yeah.
much. I mean, because of all the books he's written. But yeah, man, go through all the different artists and people that have done things that are really should be like talked about more. And
Yep.
it's horrible and it's funny and it's like why is it the shortest month of the year that we get to talk about Black History Month, and why is it Black History Month? When I did some research on Black History Month, and it was generated and started here in the United States to kind of give black folks that have been inventors, writers, directors, or whatever the forefront, and kind of give them the limelight for the moment at the time. And it became very popular in Canada. Then it got very popular in New Zealand and in Australia and like all over on the overseas as well. So it's kind of grown because black people they're everywhere. So why is it only celebrated in the United States? And it's kind of more of a worldwide type of thing now. You know what I'm saying? So I think it should be celebrated a little bit more than just 1 month. You can sprinkle it out through the whole year. I don't know. I mean, for me, I think that should happen.
But quite honestly, I mean, as with anything, it's in the eye of the beholder, man. Like February does not. Sure, it's known on paper as Black History Month, but isn't every month Black History Month? It doesn't. Black history and the pursuit of knowledge of Black history does not have to be confined to 1 month. It's one of those things. We're going to get into Valentine's Day later, and off camera, you said it's a marketable holiday.
Glorified.
Yeah, it's a glorified holiday. Well, the true could be the same thing could be said for Black History Month, because they take that month and they say, okay, the focal point of the history that we're going to teach in class for this month, for these 28 days, is going to be Black history, and we're going to teach about Martin Luther King, we're going to teach about Malcolm X, and so on and so forth. We might not tell you about Emmett Till, you know what I mean? But again, it's in the eye of the beholder, and Marlon has certainly shown that by doing the research and saying, hey, here's a tidbit on somebody that you might not have heard that is not mainstream or mainstreamly represented during Black History Month. So it doesn't necessarily have to be confined to February. Every day could be a Black History Day if you want it to be.
And every day could be Valentine's Day. It doesn't need to be like,
Oh, this is your show. I mean,
and every day doesn't need to be Valentine's Day. But anyway, I don't know. For me, I just don't like when something so huge and big and that has had an impact on how we do things on every day. Like the telephone was invented by a black person. The elevator was invented by a Negro, and all these different things that we know or don't know about them. Why don't we give more praise? Why don't we give more instead of just 28 days? I feel like it should be drawn out throughout the whole. It's the same. It's parallel to how I feel about Valentine's Day, or how I feel about certain Hallmark holidays.
Certainly.
I feel like they should be it should be extended out throughout the. And I understand what you're saying, that it's in the eye of the beholder, and it's up to the families, whether it be a black family or a white family, to say, hey, this is what's going on, this is what's happening in education, because education does start at home. But anyway,
we also have Black studies classes.
Yeah.
There are classes you can take at the universities to further your knowledge. I mean, I didn't take any when I was in college. I was the president of our Black Student Union at IEPY, and there is a lot of history that I'm not saying I learned it through there, but because it was such a strong interest for me at the time, I did so much research and found out so much information. I see why they had to make it a course. Like, you can get a degree in Black history or Black studies at different universities. There's so much to cover. That it's impossible to fit in any 1 month, let alone the shortest month. Even if it had 31 days, there's still not enough
right.
space. So having college courses, I'm sure there's seminars. There's plenty of ways to absorb that knowledge if somebody wants to pursue that.
Absolutely, and that kind of segues into the next thing we're going to talk about. And I'm going to probably say some things, and these are only opinions and these are only thoughts, kind of like throwing a blanket statement out there and see how you guys react to it. So the Black Lives Matter movement nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize. Is this warranted, or did the Nobel Peace Committee or whatever just kind of threw it out there because of the climate that we're in during when the Black Lives Matter movement happened around in June? Do you think it's something that the Black Lives Matter should have won or should have been recognized for, or do you think it was kind of given to kind of, appease or kind of like candy over what's going on? Like the Nobel Peace Prize is, here we go. Those are just thoughts. I mean, I don't know. I think you guys kind of talked about it on your show a little bit maybe, but I don't know if you got too in depth about it. But what do you guys think? What do you think are the contrast in do you think was it warranted? Was it something that should have been given out, or do you think it was absolutely warranted to be given, or is it because of what the climate was at the time that we're just, let's do this over so we can kind of, muffle them down a little bit? Do you think it was that? Because I kind of feel like that's what it was. I don't know.
If I jump in here, I did a lot of reading once I saw the nomination. And then once you have keyboard warriors on both sides who have the perspective of the Black Lives Matter movement is different from the Black Lives Matter organization. So with the riots and the vandalism and things that happened all over the country, maybe all over the world, that happened with the movement over the summer, everyone's perspective is, well, you can tear up a clothing store or go looting and rioting and get nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize. That's not what happened. The far-reaching effects of the movement were worldwide. When you started hearing other countries in Australia and France and Germany and England are having the same effect, it was huge. So I could see the fact that it had a far-reaching effect for systemic injustice, trying to right some wrongs. So we're not the only place that has that. We happen to magnify because this is where we are and this is what's going on here in the United States. But how much is going on around the world, and the fact that it triggered all these emotions and what I would consider progress, because there were some laws that were made in different states that really should have been federal laws, in my opinion. But that's a whole nother conversation topic. But the far-reaching effects of the movement itself is the reason why I believe it was nominated, not just to satiate anybody in regards to the sensitivity of the issue. I don't think that was it. But I could see why certain people said no. I could see why a lot more people said yes.
I think, though, I do think that it is in part to appease, to vindicate what that movement was all about. And quite honestly, man, I do feel like one hand washes the other. So you kind of said, Juan, that that was it warranted?
Yeah.
You know, and I think, yes, it is warranted 100%. But what does that warrant do? That warrant draws even more attention to the Black Lives Matters movement. And then for people that were maybe on the wrong side, and I use that term because, you know, there was looting, there was rioting. You know, you can't say that it didn't happen. But for people that were maybe on the wrong side of what that message actually should have been or what it should have been taken as, it adds a little bit of dignity to the original message, and the message is that change is needed. Mm-hmm. You know, so, you know, where if I'm like, oh man, yeah, and F the police, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this, and then I see that they're nominated for, you know, the Black Lives Matter movement is nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize. There's a little bit of nobility that goes along with that, and I might say, you know, wait a minute, man, I went about this all wrong. Like, what can I do to get active? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? What can I do to try to push this movement forward? How can I contribute in a positive manner? And I think, you know, I personally think that there are white people somewhere that are like, yes, let's go ahead and let them have this one. Let's give them the W.
Right.
You know what I mean? But again, it's all in the eye of the beholder. When you receive a message like that, like Black Lives Matter has been nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize, like I said, there's a bit of nobility, a bit of dignity that goes along with that, and it makes you want to carry that message out even further.
Yeah, I think that when you have movements like the Black Lives Matter movement, although there were you had probably more people that were more peaceful than there were the rioters, the violence. But when you look at the different civil rights movements that we had, which ones made the biggest noise, or which ones had the biggest impacts, and you look at just the effect of being a peaceful versus violent, which one gets the better reaction? I hate to say it's violence.
Right.
So I'm not validating. I would never validate violence. But if you're trying to get your point across and someone's not listening to you, be peaceful, that's when you scream. It's like a baby.
Right.
So a baby wants something, and they're gonna let you know about it. There's not going to be something quiet. They're not going to peacefully. No, they're not going to peacefully wait on you to give them a bottle or a binky.
But what you're saying, though, and I hear what you're saying. Case in point, Colin Kaepernick.
Right.
He was silent. There was silent protests all across the NFL.
Yep.
And you know, unfortunately, he was one of the players that got blackballed over it. But it raised an issue, and a lot of people have said after the fact. You know, you didn't want us to protest quietly during NFL games or whatever the venue of our choice, but you don't want to protest. You don't want us to protest with violence.
Yeah.
The overall idea is that you just don't want us to protest. You're happy with the way that things are, and of course you are.
That opens up that's the precipice of the biggest can of worms. that like I said, that in itself, we could talk for hours.
Certainly.
I would imagine just on that part right there. Like, how do you want us to protest then?
Right.
But let's not, I mean, like I said, we'd be there for hours.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah, certainly.
But yeah, I think with the, I think, again, they're just nominated. So they didn't win anything. You know what it really reminds me of? The Black Panther. The movie was just nominated for Best Picture. And a lot of people were up in arms. Just the nomination itself was great recognition for comic book movies, because they hardly ever get that type of recognition.
Right.
Period. And they're like, well, The Dark Knight was better. This I think we had this conversation, didn't
Right,
we?
yeah,
This
yeah.
movie was better. This movie was better. This should have gotten it. That shouldn't have gotten it. It was dumb. It was boring. It was just the fact that it got recognized. It was a beautiful movie. Had wonderful acting in it. But it's not the best. It shouldn't have been nominated. But this movement was nominated. The likelihood of it winning is probably slim. Because we're acknowledging it. Probably the word was appeasement. I don't want to use that. I don't want to think it's that. I want to think it's a noble cause and a noble movement because it's a Nobel Peace Prize. But if it is, and I don't think it should win it.
Yeah. I mean, I do have to say it. That was just a statement to kind of like, kind of get the climate going, because you obviously, everyone here obviously knows that I'm all about the Black Lives Matter movement. I went to protest. I took pictures of it. I'm a huge activist when it comes to the Black Lives Matter thing. I wear it at work. I wear it around all the time because, I mean, we need to, have more awareness of what's going on.
Yep.
And I do think some things, like you said, kind of, piggybacking off of you, how if it's for appeasement, then I don't want the award. I don't want it.
Right.
Because if you're just doing it to kind of calm us down, to shut us up, then no, we're going to be louder then, and it kind of rings true more when I just watched last night, Judas and the Black Messiah. Man, I wanted to start a revolution right after I watched that movie. There was a part in that movie where it made me cry and I put my fist up, in the movie, in my room by myself watching this movie. I was crying and I put my fist up,
Yep.
I'm kind of getting a little emotional right now because, people of color, we have gone through so much adversity, so much shit. And I've thought about the things that I've been through. It probably hasn't been as much as some of my black friends, but I remember one time when I was serving at Red Robin, and I had a whole table, like maybe 15. It was an old lady's birthday. It was an old white lady's birthday, and I was taking everybody's order, And obviously, you can tell that if you just listen over the radio waves, you don't know if I'm Mexican, right? Because I kind of talk okay, I do slur my words a little bit, whatnot. But when I got to the old lady, she goes like, "How long have you been in America?" And the lady next to her was like, Granny, don't say that. She goes, "Oh no, you speak very, very good English. It's so good. Where did you learn?" And I just like, man, I've been here all my life. I've learned because I'm an American, and everyone kind of like put their head down, and they were like looking at me like I was going to get upset or something. But, she's like 88 years old at the time,
Right.
And at that time, that lady gets a pass. For me, was it the right thing to say? No, but she grew up in that climate.
I was going to say, do the math when she was born.
Right.
The era and times that she lived through.
She doesn't. And maybe she may be a little like have some dementia or some Alzheimer's going on where she doesn't understand that there are a prominent, black and brown people in this country now. She maybe not get out a lot, but anyway.
You have to consider when she was a kid, there were still 2 separate drinking fountains.
Sure.
Likely.
So,
I mean, that's why I gave her a pass. That's why I looked at her, I smiled, and I told her happy birthday.
Yep.
you should have said something in Spanish. You should have just made it up. Like the chicken is on the couch, and she would have ate it up, bro.
Oh, that sounds so beautiful. But no, I mean, nonetheless, man, like I'm definitely an advocate for the Black Lives Matter movement, and if there's more that goes on with the Black Lives Matter movement, once it gets, a little warmer outside, we can protest a little bit more. I'm definitely going to be there with my camera and my fist in the air and whatever I can do, because there's Joe Black D's is, I don't know if you guys know who Joe Black D's is, but I mean, he's become a pretty like, pinnacle person, and him and his girlfriend for like the Black Lives Matter movement here in Fort Wayne. And, I had a conversation with him on, through Messenger, when this whole thing was going on. He's like, we need more brown brothers like you too, man. And just kind of getting into what's going on in the Judas and the Black in the Black Messiah. Frank Hammond, he brought Puerto Ricans, Mexicans, white people, like everybody. He brought them all together. He's like, the Black Panther Party wants to do this because these pigs, these white people, they want to see us all go away. So if we unify, we can be stronger against these people. We can be stronger against them, And I'm not trying to put him in the same kind of thing, but he's a young kid. He's trying to do the same. He's trying to do the same thing, And I got Joe Black D's back, you know, like anytime there's a movement going on, I'll have my camera in hand, or if there's a podcast that needs to happen or we need to talk about it, then I'm for it. So yeah, I just had to set that out there because the tone kind of started like I wasn't about it, but obviously everyone knows that I am. So I had to throw that out there because it wouldn't be out there if it didn't come out as a way.
Yeah, go ahead, because you haven't said anything
I've
this
been
entire time.
My anxiety's going up because I don't want to interrupt anybody. So it's kind of hard to jump in. So with the Black Lives Matter whole thing going into a Nobel Prize, I think of Newton's third law of motion. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. So the fact that actually happened and it caused what it did, and it being a peaceful movement where you started seeing stuff that I had never seen before in my life, stuff that you would see in the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, where even the peaceful people were getting shot at, where they were going down, they were being killed, and they were just standing there. And it was stuff that you will probably never get to see in your lifetime, and it just basically took the idea of people of color not being treated equally and put it on the table and went, what do you guys think about that one? Did it go out?
Whatever that means. Keep going.
Okay. No, it basically put it on the table, and it basically said, let's talk about it. And you had everybody react to it. If you walked in and you talked to somebody had something to say. Right. It wasn't quiet in anyone's head. So you actually one of my first reactions to it was actually yours, because we were actually doing podcasts during the time where the movements were going on, and we would go every week, and I noticed a change every week, and what we were talking about was slowly starting to dip in a different motion the way that we were talking about it. Because at the beginning, when it first happened, was just when people marched downtown. And you saw everybody talking at the Capitol, everybody picketing the signs, everything was fine, and all of a sudden it just went south really fast.
Yeah.
People got shot in the eye. People got put down. People were jumping on top of cars. Things were going on fire, and we're just like, what is happening? And we had no idea, and our first reaction was destruction. Everybody's destructing everything. And then we found out more information the longer we went on, that people were putting bricks down. So it would incite the riots. So it would incite violence. When everybody that's down there, when you go down and talk to the people that you were just mentioning, it's all peaceful. We're all just going to stand here. We're going to stand on the corner, and we're just going to put up our signs, and that's all we're going to do. And that was at the meetings where that's all we're going to do, is we're just going to stand there with the signs. We're not going to move. If they tell us to move, we will move down over here. We are not going to cause a riot. We are not going to cause any problems. Anybody who does will be kicked out of the band. And that's how it was. So looking at that motion and offering it the Nobel Peace Prize, when it's on everybody's shirts, it's on everybody's minds, it's in everybody's mouths, absolutely they deserve it. That is not even a question. Nelson Mandela, he got it off of what he said and his actions and his patience. Nobody has had more patience in this country than people of color, waiting up until this point until it finally exploded, and it wasn't even really them that exploded. By far, they absolutely deserve to win it. I don't care who else is on the table. You can brush those guys off, because you will never see anybody like this again.
Yeah,
I agree. This was our. Can we say this is our civil rights movement?
Absolutely.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, 100%.
Because if you look at the movement in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, those are very powerful times. I mean, you can point out different dates in the 50s or in the 60s and sometimes the 70s when there's marches or there's actually just flat out violence. They have Bloody Sunday in 19. No, that's 18. I'm a little far ahead. Yeah, a little far ahead. But there's times where you can look at violence against Dr. MLK or even with Rosa Parks, or like I said, some of the individuals that I'm looking up and reading about during the civil rights movements. But this was ours, and I think that we got some reaction. My thing was I feel like we need to fight a lot of the systemic racism or injustices with legislation.
Yeah.
And if you look at different states, not necessarily Indiana, but different states were passing laws. I think one of the biggest ones that they needed to kind of get rid of is that police immunity.
Yeah, 100%.
Because that is when a police officer, whether they're scared or they always use the line, "I feared for my life," there's a certain number of weapons and tools on their belt that they use before they get to deadly force. And a lot of these guys are going, hey, they're pulling their guns quicker than they're going for mace. They're not going for batons,
Tasers.
They're not going for tasers. They're going straight to guns, and that's not how it's supposed to be. So I think there's got to be accountability.
So two things. I just want to touch because I have to get this thought out before I lose it. Two of you have said that if receiving a Nobel Peace Prize for Black Lives Matter movement is just a form of appeasement, which, let's be honest, 30% of that is. 30% of that is, right? Then I don't want it. But it's not about the appeasement. Again, it's how you take it. So whether it's 30% appeasement or 50% appeasement, the fact that Black Lives Matter won a Nobel Peace Prize, or the Black Lives Matter movement won a Nobel Peace Prize, moves that movement in a forward direction.
Sure.
Regardless of what the reasoning was for the reception of the Nobel Peace Prize. And I think that's really important. You know, don't cut off the nose to spite the face. Let's say, okay, you say that, well, this is just an award for you guys. Thanks for not burning the United States down. Great job. No, we take that fire, and that fire moves forward because now you've given us the tool. Now it's not just a movement. You know, now there is some validity behind it. Mm-hmm. There is more validity behind it. It was already a valid movement. Now there's more validity behind it. You know what I mean? So whether it's for appeasement or not, I give two shits what the reasoning behind it is. The fact that it is nominated or the fact that it may or may not win is fuel for the fire pushing in the correct direction. You know, so I just wanted to offer that perspective and kind of think of it that way. That you know, maybe it's for appeasement, whatever, right? But it is a step in the right direction, whether the people who think they are appeasing you realize that or not.
It's true.
I feel like it's more like, not disagreeing with anything you said, but I think it's also almost a stamp on Black Lives Matter if it wins, whether or not it does win or not. But it really stamps on the fact of morally, I mean, everybody is getting together and they're agreeing this is right. Morally, this is correct in our eyes, and this is a percentage of people that is outweighing the others.
Right.
And so it goes on to argument like I've never seen someone go against someone in a Peace Prize battle, I guess, where one side is against it and it stays there after they win the Peace Prize. They always just look down on the other guys and just go, well, it's been proven. We have a majority. Now anybody who comes out and just going, well, it's full of this, it's full of that, they won the Nobel Peace Prize, guys. Yeah. They are the peaceful ones. Rather than you guys who are going against it, trying to burn down their houses when they didn't do anything besides hold a sign.
Yeah, it's a movement whether you recognize it or not. Yeah. The second thing that I wanted to say is that you are correct. There is a bat belt full of utilities that police are given that they can employ before deciding to use deadly force, right? Yeah. So at least with articles that I've read and some of the videos that I've seen, in order to get a taser on your belt, you have to take a taser. Mm-hmm. And I feel like the same should be with a firearm. Now, hear me out on this. hear me out on this. It's a very radical idea, and everybody's like, "Damn, you got to take a bullet to get one."
My head first went to Super Troopers, where he took one down the line. Do it again.
But look, so there's a standard bullet, a standard weapon that police are given, and you're given a bulletproof vest, right? That is to protect your life. If it wasn't going to protect you, they would have come up with something else, right? People shoot people with bulletproof vests all the time.
They got rubber bullets.
Well, I mean, if you're going to take...
A rubber bullet is really just an actual bullet covered in rubber.
Yeah, but if you're going to...
Just put some Flex Seal on that bitch.
Some Gorilla Glue.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, seriously, think about it. It's the same concept as a taser. You put a bulletproof vest on, you trust a gentleman to stand 20 feet away from you and fire, and you take a bullet. Here's your weapon. Now you understand the importance of when you draw that weapon, right? You do understand that the rest of civilian America is not wearing bulletproof vests, except for the people that were in D.C. a couple weeks ago. And now you understand that once you draw that weapon and you fire that weapon, that anything that results in that, you are now responsible for. Yeah. There is no immunity because you've taken that bullet. You know how that feels with a vest on, and you've just shot somebody with no vest. So maybe it's a radical idea, but maybe the same rules should apply. Do you think that officers would be so quick to grab that firearm as opposed to that taser? Because they've taken a taser and they've taken a bullet through a vest.
Yes.
You think they'd still grab the gun?
Yeah.
I still think that they jump straight to
their pistol.
Yeah. And the only reason is because I don't know if it's a power thing. I can't say can you be that afraid every day at work? Yeah. I have fear for my life every day at work when you're on a traffic stop and someone's like, "Hey, let me get my ID." Oh, whoa, hey, and you start reaching for their hips. Like you don't even you didn't even say step out of the car or
right.
Let me see your hands. It's hey, what are you doing? And Philando Castile, hey, can you get your license for me? As soon as he's reaching for his license, he gets lit up.
Yeah. Right.
So it's like, I don't know, man.
I think it is a power trip, though. Obviously, I mean.
Yeah, it is. It is a power trip. I mean, look at Breonna Taylor, man. She lost her life and she didn't even fucking do anything. There's how many police officers that went there at night didn't even have any body cams on or didn't even identify themselves. And I just saw this. It was like a 15-minute layout of exactly what happened, like piece by piece what happened. They busted open the door, started shooting immediately, and shots were being shot from outside and inside of it, and then outside of the apartment. Shots got fired outside of the apartment. Then they breached the apartment, got in, started shooting, and then once they started hearing that their comrades or whatever are inside getting shot and things were going off, people from outside, police officers were shooting from outside inside. So there's two people in there. Well, why do you need so much firepower for?
It's like the Spider-Man meme.
Right.
Have you ever seen when somebody gets? I hate to say I've seen video of an officer shooting a civilian that they saw as a threat, and I guess because I've never done it, there's an emotion that comes with it, and you just damn near empty the clip. Your Glock holds 14, 15, 16 bullets or something. So
12.
People are emptying the clip on one person. I saw a guy get shot 5 times in 2 seconds, unarmed. And I'm thinking, why 5 bullets? Why not just one? He didn't even have a weapon.
Right. I mean,
so I don't understand it, but I don't know. Like I said, I don't think you can go to work scared like that every day where that's your first thought. I got to make sure my weapon's ready to go.
And if you have that much fear that you have to do that, you shouldn't be on the police force.
I don't think so.
You shouldn't have a fucking gun.
Yahtzee.
You shouldn't be a part of it. And if you have that much fear, go fucking work at McDonald's or something. I don't know. Work at Sweetwater. I don't know. Is that works?
It's lunch hour with the McDouble. All hands on deck. It's scary out here, man.
The McRib is back.
Dang.
I feel like you should actually have like more of a probation feeling for the people who are in the field, because when you're on probation at a work, you're like, I don't want to fuck up. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. Well, that's how you should be on the field as a police officer, going through those motions. So I think that they should incorporate not just the fact of firearms or non-lethal force. You need to put some psychological tests on that they have to do every 30 days to make sure that they are all stable. Because have you ever been at work and let's say Valentine's Day is coming up, so this is going to be a good topic with it. I know. Shit. No. I'll be back. No. So you have your wife, you have your girlfriend, you have your boyfriend, you have your husband, you have whatever. Have you ever gone into a fight and then gone into work? How do you react? How do you emotionally feel going on to whether or not you worked in restaurants, in a factory?
You're on edge.
You just feel irritated the entire day. But you have people's lives at stake with this one. You have guns on you. You have a taser on you. You have someone snap at you and you snap right back. You could have shot him if you had that on them. I think you need to be more psychologically strong to stand on that field.
Absolutely.
And if it's a daily thing, it's a daily thing, and they need to understand that. But I think that they should push more into making sure these guys are stable with the weapons.
But I think if I back up, once they get out of the academy, they do have field training.
Yes.
So they're out there learning about the importance and uses of what's on their belt and what's on their person so that they can be effective as officers. I don't know if it's when they snap, when they get on their own. I don't know. But I was having a conversation at work this morning about having psychological evaluations for police officers, like in your screening, like even before they get into the academy.
Yeah, because the last thing you want to do is give Yosemite Sam a weapon.
Yeah. Right. I think it should be kind of like the military. I mean, my brother was in the military for 26 years, and what ultimately kind of got him out there. Sorry, brother, I'm going to kind of out you on why you're not in the military anymore. But I mean, 26 years, he did his time, whatever. But you have to go through these these tests, and you have to do 2 miles and so often in so much time. You have to have the right correct waist and the height and for BMI, whatever. I think that should all fall back onto police officers as well. Because if you stay fit, then you're healthy. If you're eating correctly, you're mentally there as well. So I feel like if you're a physically fit person and you have the mental capacity to have a firearm on your side, whatever side that you need to have it on, I believe that those things should be done just as the military does. Whatever height you're at, you need to have that waistline, you need to have that weight, and it needs to be like that. And if you don't, sorry, you're not a part of the police force anymore.
Dude, yes, but also, if you are physically fit, you can catch me, and there is no reason to shoot me.
Exactly.
There's no reason to shoot me.
Exactly.
Exactly.
So, but I was the other part of the conversation I had this morning was in regards to officers being fit. There's a lot of fit individuals. Like, I think if a person's in the street along like all their lives, I think the street is their gym. Not only do they know every nook and cranny how to jump every fence, but if they probably get into tussles on a regular basis.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So I'm not saying you still use your weapon. You need to be fit enough in order to not have to use a weapon, and if you have to go one-on-one,
Right.
Physically, and there's not enough fight. I hate to say that, there's not enough fights. Is everyone's wanting to always pull weapons? I mean,
right.
at least let's have a baton fight or something. Just
or a power walking competition or something. You know what I'm saying,
bro? I got you.
Yeah, like I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, damn, bro. I've seen some people on the police force that I could outrun with a power walk. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And those people need to be desk jockeys. They don't need to be out on the streets patrolling. You know what I mean?
I
agree.
Yep. I think we're all on the same page on this, and for sure, there's definitely change has started. It definitely is not going to go away overnight, and definitely it takes people like all four of us at this table to be activists, to talk about it, to even if there's someone that disagrees with your stance on the Black Lives Matter movement or being a black person or a brown person, show them how awesome you are as a person and be giving to, so they can have the different perspective of what a black person or what a brown person is, because it was evidently taught to them. It wasn't just taught. It happened overnight. Their family or their friends have taught it to them, and unfortunately, racism still exists.
And the next movement is presenting itself. If you've been watching the news in the last couple of weeks, with random Asians are getting jumped, beaten up, and hurt now.
Really?
Yeah, it's the coronavirus, the China virus.
Oh, my God.
I don't know who made up the term China virus.
Trump.
But maybe has incited violence against Asians. So that's been popular. If you watch stories in the last, it's been rampant in the last, probably longer than that, but in the last couple of weeks, it's been getting really bad.
Yeah.
So let's need to march for our Asian brothers.
Yes, and then we have a lot of Asian people that work here at Sweetwater, and dude, they're some of the most humblest people ever, man. They're so nice.
Yep.
They always come in with food. They're with their own food, and this guy Tho that I work right next to when I was still packing at the time, he would always bring me a little something to eat. Hey Juan, try this out. I'm like, dude, that's fucking awesome, dude. Let's try that out.
Yeah.
It was same thing at Senko, man. Like they always would bring in food, and they always would share, and they always would like, oh, you want to try? You want to try some of this? Like, I don't know, man. It smells a little weird, but I'll give it a try.
Bro, quick story if I can.
No, go ahead.
So I work at Senko, clearly.
Yeah.
Right? And Shui, you remember Shui, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so Shui brought me food. He's like, dude, I brought food for you. This was Tuesday. I brought food for you. I brought you lunch. I'm like, all right, man, that's awesome. He's like, you want it right now? I'm like, dude, it's 8:30. Like, give me a minute. Let's link up at about 11:30, man, and I'll grab it. And he's like, okay, cool. So 11:30 on the dot. It's like he's waiting on me. He's like, hey, man, I got you lunch. You don't need to go get lunch. I got it. You wanna go get it? And I'm like, yeah, dude, let's go. This dude brought me like a Tupperware full of like noodles and chicken with vegetables, right?
Nice.
Delicious, right? So I ate like as much as I could in one sitting because it was like heaping. I had to heat it up. You know when you put food into a Tupperware container and you overstuff it and you end up having it like a 3-minute heat up turns into like a 6-minute heat up.
So stir it up
stir it up a little bit.
Yeah, 100%. So like I had to like heat it up and I had to taste it. And oh man, it's delicious. Heat it up again. Like 20 minutes into my lunch, I'm finally sitting down because the food is hot all the way through, and I ate as much as I could. And then I took the rest home. I put it in the fridge, and of course she's like, "What's that?" And I was like, "Shroy bought me lunch, man. You ought to try it." And then the next day, I come home from work, and she's like, "So, I ate the rest of that. It was really good." And I was like, "Yeah, man, it was really good, man." They're like any experience that I've had with like Asian culture, you know, even being in Japan, man, they're so gracious. Yep. I had a little old lady that did not speak a one lick of English grabbed my hand on the elevator because I was getting off on the wrong floor for breakfast, and she knew it. So she was like, "Hey, dumbass!" Like, grabbed my hand, put me back on the elevator, punched the right floor, and as soon as it hit, I was like, "Oh!" And she laughed, and she was like, "There you go.
There you go.
Yeah, breakfast time."
Breakfast
like,
time.
Oh, man, that's awesome.
Saved your life.
Yeah, she did. I'd have walked around that hotel for hours.
They'll be like, "Where the food?"
Yeah.
Now like this.
There just would have been no breakfast.
After seeing everything that goes on, I don't think, because the problem that we usually have, that most people think that we have right now, is not, they think that you have people who are racist, you have people who are against everything, you have the right wing, the left wing, basically. I think that the actual evil is the perspective. The perspective where you're hearing something and then believing it or not believing it and acting upon that. And the amount of perspective that you've had throughout your lifetime is what culminated you to this point.
Sure.
So I think the problem is trying to get people to understand that without telling them that everything that they believe is lies, or trying to convince them that you're correct in your perspective compared to what they've perceived. I think that's the main issue, and that's what puts us on an imbalance of whether or not, because we really don't know whether or not this is going to end, wow, this is the end of the storm, everybody's calm, or this is going to end in, shit, people are shooting at me, I need to get inside, and it's right on that brink of you don't know where it's going to go depending on how this perspective war is going. I think that's the scary part. I mean, you have people getting jumped, and they didn't even know who they were when they jumped.
Right.
And it's just going to either get worse or it's going to get better, and it's just waiting to see what happens.
All it's going to take is one person being an antagonist to get their ass kicked.
Yeah.
the you don't know if I got a gun.
I can't
you
wait.
don't know if I got a knife.
I can't wait.
I mean, we could probably, Marlon touched on this, we could probably talk about this subject, for hours, because it's, we're all people and we all love each other here in this room. But there are definitely people that are outside this room, probably not in this building, that probably don't care for us because of the, type of pigment we are. But anyway, let's get into something a little bit. Let's talk about some love. You want to talk about some love? Because we were just talking about all this hate. Let's talk about some love. Valentine's Day, and how I think it's a glorified holiday.
Booze.
I know.
How many of us have them? Booze.
The reason I think it's a great topic for this group is you hit on perspectives. There's so many perspectives at this one table, and I thought that would make the conversation a little more diverse.
I mean,
and I'm interested in hearing what you have to say.
Sure. I mean, what I first said in the message group with everybody, when I said and how I think it's a glorified holiday, and I think someone said it was either you or Brandon said why? Because you don't got a boo. And then, why? Because you ain't got a boo. And I put in a little meme of Shrek, like, maybe. But no, I mean, yes, in a way, but in another perspective or another sense, why do we choose one day to say that you have to show that type of affection, to go above and beyond, to show that one person that is in your life, whether it be a significant other or your partner? Why does it have to be just one day to go above and beyond? Why does it have to be a Hallmark day? Why do you have to go get a bear? Why do you have to go get chocolates? Why do you have to do all these things? Why? Why aren't we doing this on a regular basis? And I had to ask myself that question too in my relationships. Like, did I ever do that? Guess what? Probably not so much. And I'm probably the type of people that are like me, kind of wait it and amp up for Valentine's Day. Be like, oh, look, I love you. Here it is. But to just wait for that one day, it just kind of, I don't know. It just like takes all the air out of a fucking balloon. It's like, I don't know. I don't really care for it. I don't really care for the day.
You have to ask yourself one question.
Sure.
When you're with someone, why aren't you like that every day?
Like the first time you met them? Or?
No. When you're with that person and you guys are dating or getting to know each other, and you say that this holiday, which I think all holidays are glorified holidays.
Yeah, sure.
But I think that why aren't you, and I put this for myself, why am I not motivated to do this every day? I'm different. I'm not quite like that, but I'm saying for those who are kind of bah humbug about this love holiday, because they because they don't have love at that time or whatever, but when you have been with somebody and it's July 19th, why isn't July 19th like a love holiday for you?
Right.
I mean, that's the question.
I don't know.
I think it's a generational thing, actually. I think the only reason it's actually a day is because back in the days when it was actually started up, a lot of people were factory workers or they were construction workers, and they'd work constantly to the point where they were home maybe for a couple hours just to sleep. So if you put a date on something, it forces people to actually produce it on that day. That's why every holiday that we have is only usually one day, unless you're into Hanukkah and some that will last a week or so on. But that's what it's been for generations upon generational traditions. So, I mean, try to change Christmas right now. Try to change Easter right now. Try to change the day of it. It's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen in the next couple of years. That is what it is. And I think corporations took advantage of that fact that it became, this is the day that we want to do it. This is all the factory workers decide, hey, this day we're going to spend the day with our boo. Corporations looked at that and went, hey, let's take advantage of this. Let's put hearts in front of them. They need to buy this. They need to buy jewelry. They need to do that. Same reason like the diamond became this huge successful thing when it's worth pennies.
Right.
Just because of the fact of this is a day where we can market this. Let's go. Same thing with Christmas. Christmas is just about giving. But people got attached to it and went, hey, you need to buy them this. You need to do this. You need to do that. You need to do this. And everybody now looks at them in like a glorified holiday because back in the days where that was relevant, it was just we're all going to get together and we're going to enjoy our time. And it just grew.
So what you're saying is it's more of like a societal thing.
Yes.
Like it's like what
Absolutely.
is what the societal norm is. It's like you have to do this. And I do see that because like if you don't do it, then it's like if you're boo, you don't want you to do something and you don't. Oh shit! You're probably sleeping on a couch with some Jergens, you know.
a doghouse.
So okay, nerd alert, right?
Oh, nerd alert! Nerd alert!
Yep.
Breaking news.
So Emperor Claudius II executed 2 men, both named Valentine, on February 14th of different years in the 3rd century A.D. They're basically being honored by the Catholic Church by the celebration of St. Valentine's. So that's the original reason for St. Valentine's Day.
I was looking it up and I couldn't.
Doesn't that turn you on? Just like
Yeah, like
Does that make you want to buy chocolates?
Yeah. So it then kind of my mind is like, so what's the correlation? What's with the roses? These guys were executed. People threw roses at them. Did they cut their hearts out? And that's why hearts are associated with Valentine's Day. You know,
Is that what happened?
I don't know.
I was saying, like, oh, damn, they cut their hearts out.
Yeah. Come on.
Hey, that
What
makes
is it?
sense.
3rd century AD.
Right.
That makes
is that
sense.
far-fetched?
That makes sense.
No, that is not far fetched.
You
know what's gonna be
They were
sad?
savages back then.
Yes, they were.
You know what's really going to be sad?
And especially
in
in the
like
Catholic Church.
Yeah.
I'm going to love this in like 1,000 years when they look back and they go, yeah, they were eating Tide Pods. Well, it was the 21st century. Of course they're going to fucking eat Tide Pods.
The 21st century.
So then it kind of begs the question: is where or when did it all go this way? To where,
Did you find that too?
No, but I'm prompted to look it up. I figured maybe while I like drug it out a little bit.
Well, I mean you can, because I asked a few ladies at work, like, how do they feel about Valentine's? Because I wanted to have like a lady on the show to kind of give their perspective, but I couldn't get a lady on the show. But anyway, I asked a few, and I asked one who is a friend of ours on Facebook, Nikki, and she said that she thinks it's a waste of time, and that it's that it's no pressure on either of the significant others to do something on that day. It's just another day for them. Another person at work, someone at work said that they don't really celebrate the day, that they kind of just love each other throughout all the day, throughout the whole year, and that they really do think that it's more of a Hallmark day to, like, buy some things and get consumers out to buy things. Another person said that, yeah, if my boyfriend doesn't do something for me for Valentine's Day, he ain't gonna get any. And I'm like, so here we go. 2 out of 1, 2 that said that they don't really care about Valentine's, and then 1 person that said. And the age difference on these are a little all over the place as well, too.
Hey, can I call out the girl that was going to get her boyfriend in trouble if he didn't get her anything?
Sure, go ahead.
Can I call her out? I don't know who that is, but I've heard that so many times. And I think, why am I going to go out and spend, money on nice clothes or a card or whatever gifts, and you're going to give me the same kitty cat?
Right.
You didn't have to go out and buy that. I got to go out and go be Superman for one day, and I get the same kitty cat.
I get the same.
I ain't down with that, man. You need to do something for me too.
You put no vinegar on it or nothing.
You know what though? I mean, show some love. Like, maybe it's freshened up. Maybe there's something.
She threw some vinegar on that motherfucker.
Maybe there's something sexy involved. You know what I'm saying? Like if you are in a relationship where she would do for you, it's a reciprocal relationship.
It should be, right.
It should always be. It should be reciprocal 365 days a year.
Right.
However, my whole perspective, I have to say that, yes, I 100% agree that this is a Hallmark holiday. This shit has been made up and perpetuated to get you to buy cards, jewelry, clothing, chocolates. You know what? My favorite day? February 15th. Because all that chocolate is half price, bro.
Mine's November 1st.
And look,
November 1st.
And look,
You gotta go for
get you
Halloween.
a woman that understands that, and we've both eaten.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
You can actually go out to a good restaurant and not have the prices being, fluctuated.
Yeah. So it's funny that you say that, because the first year that we were together, I was like, hey, like, where do you want to go? We were just kind of like we weren't brand new. We're a year into it, but I was like, where do you want to go? Like, I feel like I need to take you out. Let's go somewhere, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, I don't want to wait at restaurants. And I'm like, yes.
Yeah,
That's my doubt. That's my doubt. And then I was like, well, tell me what you think about this. Let's get a bottle of wine and let's cook together. Like, instead of going and spending $30 on a steak dinner, you know what I'm saying? And I'm trying to show you the finest. Let me show you that we have the finest shit right here at home between me and you. You know what I mean? And so our tradition has been to go get steaks and whatever, like, get it in. Eat to the point where you're like, I don't know if it's going to happen tonight because I'm really full. And she eats to the point where she's like, yeah, you know what? Let's just sit here and watch something nerdy. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, yeah, this is what it's all about. But, like, go get you a steak. Go get you a nice bottle of wine. Go get yourself some veggies, whatever, potato, whatever. And just, like, enjoy the idea of being together. Because, with the way that society is, if you are in a relationship, there isn't a lot of time for the male-female dynamic, especially now, like, as a new parent, especially now that there's a child involved. I can feel it. I can feel the struggle. It's here's the baby, pay attention to the baby, but also acknowledge me as part of the relationship as well. And I'm sure that without being on the outside looking in, that I'm the same way. You have the baby, but hey, look at me once in a while. You know what I'm saying? Right. So use that as the opportunity to reconnect, if you will. But if you are not making your woman feel like $1 million fucking dollars, 365 days a year, through all the bullshit, through all the hard times, all the issues that you may or may not have, you're doing it wrong. You don't understand the whole point of a relationship if you can't take the good with the bad and understand that the both of you will live to fight another day.
See, and I want to call Brandon out and hold Brandon accountable.
Uh-oh.
It sounds terrible at the beginning, right?
Was this where that segue with the tasers thing came in?
Yes.
I'll go get the vest.
But here's the thing. We've known each other pretty intimately, I think, the last year or two.
Sure.
I've seen you and Naomi grow, and what you just said is how you live.
Yeah.
And that's
100%.
why I say I want to hold him accountable for that, because that's why I wanted to hear his perspective, because I watch him do it every day when I visit them or I see them together. This guy he backs it up 100%. So it's not a burden for him to, hey, let's go get some flowers, go get something to eat, or what do you need? Let me rub your. I mean, this guy's he's 100% legit. Yeah. And I've seen that up close, and I admire that about you.
But you know what? I mean, dude, I'm 41 years old. So first of all, I'm lucky to be dating somebody that's beautiful and half my age. Why wouldn't you? You know what I'm saying?
But some guys don't get it, no matter how old they are. One of my favorite holidays. Well, this is going to sound terrible. Go to Walmart, February 14th, like around 5 or 6 p.m. You watch all these mindless idiots who didn't plan for Valentine's Day.
Right now, it's happening right now.
Yeah.
So
100%. I got to get steak on the way home.
Yeah, they're looking at the cards with teddy bears in this hand, flowers in this hand, reading cards because they failed to plan. And this guy does it all year, so it's not it's not a great task. But these other guys are having anxiety attacks, knowing they'll be in the doghouse if they fail to get the right gifts. Like your girl is going to give them the same kitty cat.
Yeah. I just think that it is, it is I love my woman. Don't get it twisted. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like there isn't anything that I wouldn't do for her. And especially now that we have a family, man, the dynamic has 100% changed, and we're working to better understand how to acknowledge each other with the presence of another person in our family now. You know what I mean? And that's kind of difficult to do, but the one takeaway that I will say about Valentine's Day, if you do have a boo, I would say take the opportunity. It doesn't have to be about the fancy dinners or the teddy bears, or she does want a teddy bear that's like 5 foot because she wants to rip all the stuffing out and get inside of it. Someday I'm going to make that dream come true.
That's an investment, but yes.
But, take the time to reconnect. And even if it's something that you're not doing on a regular basis, use Valentine's Day as a jump off point, and then maybe just kind of hash it out. Like, every month we need to do something like this. I'm fortunate enough that on a weekly basis we at least take just a little bit of time out. And now that my mom wants the baby like every Saturday night, can he stay the night? Can he stay the night? Can he stay? I don't know. Let me talk to him. Right.
Let me talk to him.
It definitely gives us the opportunity to reconnect to the people that we were before we had a kid, which we live a little free on Saturday night now.
Absolutely.
And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm having a hard time with it, but I don't think she's having as hard a time because she's a good mom, man. She needs a break sometimes. So,
I wonder if we could have a follow up discussion sometime in the near future. It doesn't have to be for, but understanding, like we talked about relationships before, but understanding how to date your significant other on a regular basis. Like after they're together, there's a lot of fall off, and like I said, I know it gets tiring when you're going to work every day. If you got kids, you got bills, you got to fix this and that around the house. I'm trying to stay fit, trying to eat right. I mean, there's a lot going on. And they talk about date night, but is date night enough? So I think that there is a conversation. There is a conversation to be had about what it takes to kind of sustain Valentine's Day or how to do that for the whole year versus just one day. I think that's a conversation in itself.
Sure. Well, basically what I'm hearing from, from Brandon and Mike, just in overall perspective of everything that I've heard from even people outside of this room that I've talked to, is if you feel pressured or you have anxiety on Valentine's Day, you ain't doing it right.
Exactly right.
You're not doing it right.
Are you with the right person?
Exactly. And if you get a lot of pressure from your significant other to do like monumentous things on Valentine's Day, is that something that I don't think that should be a deal breaker in a relationship, but if they're putting so much, pressure on you for it and you do it all year round, it's like that person maybe just wants a little bit too much. Maybe they're too needy and don't see like the real perspective of what a relationship is. I've been trying to like, reinvent myself in the past few years. And, that's one thing I'm trying to do better at is just being a loving person, not just to a female, but, to my friends and to my family as well. And I'm just going to have to say, like he called out Brandon, I'm going to call out Brandon on something as well. But it's not really calling out. It's not really calling out. It's like, dude, you've showed me like just the consistent person that you are. And even just like how Marlon said that you see it day in and day out how he is, good to his significant other. He does the same thing with his friends, and he's always there to talk and just be there for someone. And that's another part of the love that Brandon gives. And I'm just trying to get a little bit of that and just give it to other people. You know, I'm trying to like live by, you know, by his ways, you know.
Dude, that's awesome, man. Thank you.
Well,
because
that's cool.
Let me add this one thing, and this made an impact for me and the people that I hang out with. I saw where it said, "Hang out with winners. It's a different conversation."
Yeah, for sure.
So the people that you hang out with, like if you're going to pick up a lot of their habits. If you hang out with millionaires, you're going to pick up their habits and understand their motivation and ambition to succeed. Like you got to hang out with people that want to do better, and there's people that are complacent.
Right.
So I'm not wanting to be complacent. And that's why, I mean, I don't know who needs to hear this, but you know, I've been single for over 10 years. I've been in small relationships, nothing really significant, because I understand what I bring to the table, and it's going to be somebody who has to be pretty impressive to me for want to break this freedom of being by myself. Like, I'm not disappointed at all that I'm by myself on Valentine's Day. You know, I save money.
Yeah.
Number one, I don't have the stress of having to go dig for a card at 5 p.m. on February 14th, whatever. But there's a lot of expectations, and if you don't have if you're not with the right person,
right,
you know, that's stressful in itself. So I mean, all of these holidays kind of magnify your situation. So I'm excited to be in the position that I am, and if there was a person who's, I'd have to say, great enough to break this singleness or my freedom,
yeah,
she's gonna have to be pretty amazing, and that's a pretty high bar to jump.
I mean, do you think that that's probably, you put this like bar so high that it's never going to be achieved? Like you're looking for this like anomaly of a
unicorn.
Yeah, you're looking for this actual unicorn that doesn't exist, and maybe like, I don't know if you've ever seen The Bronx Tale, but Sonny said you meet three great ones in your life. Mm-hmm. You know, maybe in your younger life or your life, but you meet three great ones in your life, and after that, you don't get them anymore. I may have met my three great ones and fucked it up. You know, what if we've met our great ones? Me and you being single people. Yeah. What if we met the great ones and we've moved on? So I don't know if like we need to like bring the bar down a little bit and settle, or not look so high. And I understand. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is what I think you're thinking is that I need to bring my bar down a whole bunch so I can find someone. Nope. No, but what if I'm not like having that huge unicorn thing? Like, she's got to be this, she got to do that, she's got to be this. But if there's a couple things that she's not, but she fills in some of the other voids, wouldn't that still be a good?
Every relationship that I've run into, including yours, that everybody's glorifying, I glorify it as well.
You glorified holiday.
Yes, because
I try to Dutch oven her sometimes. You guys should know that about me.
But this is part of,
she tells me that all the time.
This is part of that, because I agree with this. It's actually you actually had a Dutch oven conversation with this that actually molds into this. As weird as that sounds, you in this relationship, I've known you for over 10 years. I mean, Juan's known you for way longer than I have, but I've noticed that the one that you're with now, they're an extension of you. They're not. Every time I've been around you two, at the beginning it was like this, but ever since then it hasn't. Where I don't look at you two as two different individual people who are balancing out what their lives are like. You guys are one person. You guys are one entity, because it's Brandon and Naomi. And that's not a bad thing whatsoever, because that is harmony between you two.
Yeah, here's the secret, though, is that we are 100% two people trying to balance out what our lives are like. And the fact that you perceive it that way means that what we're doing is actually working.
Right.
Yes,
exactly.
Yeah, and it's the fact that you weren't looking for that, though, when that happened. So saying that it's not going to happen because you're looking for a unicorn, you're not. It's the environment that you're in that you're trying to find an extension to yourself.
Yeah, and truth be told, man, like, I took a chance.
Yeah.
I got So I evaluated my relationships over the last 10 years prior to being in this one, and what I realized is I kept dating the same person over and over. Yes. No, and not literally different people with the same mannerisms and attributes. I literally kept dating the same people over and over because it was comfortable.
Right.
Yep.
You knew
Right.
him.
So I was like, all right, man, I'm going to take a chance on this. And I will give this everything I got. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And if it does, great. Right. So in regards to kind of what you're saying, like, no, I don't think you need to lower the bar. But I also think that the other side of the coin of you having met your three is a matter of perspective. Yes. And if you consider, my last 10 years, I had that mindset. What if I've already met? I got to go back. I got to try to make it work. What if I mess up with this person? I got to go back. I got to try to make it work. Mm-hmm. Right? Then you end up in a loop of dating the same person, whether it be physically the same person or another person with the same attributes over and over and over again.
Right.
And ultimately what you need to do is you need to take a chance on a person once in a while. Because taking a chance on someone else is taking a chance on yourself.
Yep.
Taking a chance on another person not to break your heart or disappoint you is taking a chance on yourself and knowing that you understand that regardless of how it ends, you are going to grow from it.
Yeah. And I feel like that's where I'm at. And first of all, I am a unicorn. Okay. So, but I am looking for, certain characteristics, and I don't think they're unattainable. I just think it's the pool that I'm picking from, and I don't want to settle for this pool or what I'm not getting, because I have certain goals and dreams in my life, and I want them to have something similar. So if I'm going to pick someone who's just wanting to settle and be where they're at, I don't want to be where I'm at. So eventually I'm going to have to leave you, because I want to keep going up and up and up and up. And I've met women that are like, I've been there, done that, got the T-shirt. I'm not interested in doing anything more. I like to travel. I like to read books. I like to be sarcastic. I think I'm funny. I need more than that.
Right. You got motivation behind you.
Oh,
you
yeah.
got a lot of motivation behind you.
So, but it's because I've struck out so much. I'm tired of striking out. Dude, I'm taking batting practice. I'm hitting the weight room. I'm trying to get conditioned.
Bro, let me tell you, if you, at our age, because we're all relatively, with the exception of Corey, like close to the same age.
I'm the baby.
He is the baby. He's the baby. The baby.
The baby.
If you are dating women around your age, that's what you're going to find. Because they've been doing it just as long as you. So them same goals and aspirations that you were looking for, that you had when you were 20, they did too. Now they're comfortable. If you want somebody that wants to attain more, the dream, you're going to have to date somebody younger.
Is that true, though?
Bro. Unless you're going for like a lawyer or a card shark. Yes.
Card shark.
Card shark? I don't know.
I mean, look at this card trick. No, seriously, think about it.
And I've thought about dating younger women, but the one thing that I do worry about is while I'm more energetic now, if they're younger than I am and still have more energy, is that going to still keep me young? I have questions when I go younger. I know what I'm doing here with this body at this age and this condition. Can somebody fit in this mold? And that's difficult, and I understand that. So I'm not asking for a perfect person to fit into this mold.
But you are ambitious and you are energetic. So the age thing is just a mindset. But if you really look at it, let's say age-wise you're here and you date somebody that is here age-wise that has the same aspirations that you do, you guys both continue to rise. Mm-hmm. And it never gets old because nobody plateaus. You would be the first person to plateau.
And I don't see that happening. I don't.
So sold, man. We're gonna get you a mail order bride from the Ukraine. She needs be about 25. But just to offer perspective, like what I've noticed in your dating habits is you like to date women that are close to your age, and I get that, but that's where I was, and I was in that same loop.
Is that an anomaly that you get the age gap? But I'm actually it's no longer an anomaly. I'm seeing wider age gaps.
Yeah.
So I understand. That's why I said, well, maybe I didn't look at somebody. I was thinking mid-30s is the youngest that I would go. I know. Maybe a little bit younger, possibly. I do understand. But I don't know, man.
I mean, as long as she don't got you training like Rocky, you're cool.
But I mean, I might be able to train like Rocky.
And that's that ambition that you should be looking for.
I mean, it really opened up the doors with the different kind of personalities that you could run into, and I'm sure the younger you go, the more motivational kind of people that you'll run into. That's
very true. So that'll be my when the doors come off of the pandemic. I think I will be possibly. I'm not gonna lie. I'll be a little bit afraid, but
he'll be running so fast that mask goes up to the nose.
Yeah, dude. Truth be told, like I'm 41, man. Like I now have, I did all my partying in my 20s and 30s, and now I have a family. And like, do I want to continue to? Would I like the opportunity to move up? Yeah, sure. Who doesn't want to make more money and be more financially stable and comfortable?
Yep.
But am I comfortable where I'm at? Yeah. I worked hard for this, and now I have a home, a family, everything that goes along with it.
We were actually talking about this about a week ago when I came over. We were talking about the balance, the pros and cons with, do you want to work and have more money and more responsibility? Nah, I just want to be home with my family.
I do.
Because we were talking about a Saturday where you took off and you just sat there and you're just like, I'd rather be here with the kid.
Yeah.
And then I started watching cartoons, and then we just sat there.
Because I was going to go to work and I didn't. Yeah. Like, I got up with him, and I was like, you want to go watch some Thundercats? And he's like, goo goo gaga, let's roll.
Goo goo gaga.
Yeah, I love my son, man. I love hanging out with him. He don't know what he knows what his hands are, but, he don't know what's going on. He just knows that we're hanging out. Like, who doesn't want that? It's a satisfying feeling. It's rewarding. Yep. So anyway, I feel like we kind of got off.
What were we talking about?
We're still on track, but
all right, we are. I mean, because it kind of goes to the point of why I feel Valentine's is a glorified holiday. Maybe it has to do with like the way I look for love. Maybe it is the way that how I move forward and like do things differently. Maybe that's why it is that I think that the Valentine's Day is a glorified holiday. But
no, it is. You are 100% correct in saying that it's a glorified holiday. I think the takeaway from it is that, find yourself somebody where you hear the phrase, every day is Valentine's Day. It's either every day is Valentine's Day or Valentine's Day doesn't exist because there's no need for that special day to treat someone that you care about special. Every day is special.
Right.
The other holiday that needs to be glorified that doesn't get enough attention is Sweetest Day.
Sweetest Day.
That's in October, but that too is a bunch of shit.
Hey, women.
That too is a bunch
Valentine's
of shit.
Day is for women. That's why we have Sweetest Day.
No, that's why we have March 14th.
That too.
Hey, March 14th. What's March 14th?
Dude, March. You really want me to say it?
Yeah.
Dude, it's a steak and a BJ day.
Yeah.
Oh, I heard about that day. Yes.
That's a thing.
Steak and a BJ.
Yeah.
That's coming up real soon.
So Valentine's Day is for the ladies, and March 14th is for the fellas.
Hell yeah.
See, that doesn't work for me because her birthday's the 15th. And it just doesn't work.
Nah, it should work.
But again, every day should be a steak and a BJ.
Yes.
Boom.
Steak and a BJ.
Make sure you write that on the calendar.
Yeah.
Well, we can talk about another guy right now who's probably getting a steak in the BJ for winning his 7th Super Bowl?
Oh my God.
Mr. Tom Brady still giving out, collecting all these accolades, and being a quarterback in the NFL. But nonetheless, we're talking about the Super Bowl. And I just want to give my takeaway on the Super Bowl. I kind of think it was a little rigged for Tom Brady, man. Like, all these firsts, You know, all these first times for Tom Brady. You know, the first time that a quarterback is at his home field, you know, at a Super Bowl. You know, the first time he threw a touchdown pass, you know, and, you know, I don't know. I think it was kind of rigged, but, you know, I kind of got away from football a little bit, you know, because my Bears suck. But, you know, I don't know. He's like, shut the fuck up.
You guys might be making a deal for Carson Wentz.
Or that,
I don't
or
want that either.
Yeah. But the Super Bowl, you guys watch it? I know, pretty sure you guys watched it. You guys watch it? What's your takeaways from it?
I watched a little bit.
The best part was the streaker.
Yes. And apparently this guy betted on himself. Always bet on yourself, because he bet, what, $50,000 and made like 400 and some thousand off of it?
That's awesome.
It was. I'm not sure if it was 50, but it was
He put 50 grand down,
pretty
I think.
big chunk of change. And if I saw the round number of $374,000, but loose lips sink ships. Did you guys hear about this?
No, what happened?
Vegas found out that he basically bet on himself.
Ooh.
So they said, we're not going to pay that.
What?
So who's going to make that bet?
Should have had his buddy do it.
Well, his buddy was the diversion.
Yeah, because he went out first.
Get a
And then
third friend.
But if he had kept his mouth shut, he would have kept all the money. Because when Vegas found out, they were like, "No, we're not paying that."
Wow.
Yeah, it says Super Bowl streaker says he bet $50,000 on his stunt, but his plan is falling apart because he couldn't keep his mouth shut.
Yep.
Wow.
I couldn't believe that when I heard that yesterday, and I was like, "Are you kidding me?" So
Wow.
it cost him
Streaked for
$1,000 to get out of jail after he got caught streaking.
They at least need to give him his $50,000 back.
Nah, they ain't gonna give him that. That's
No,
Vegas.
bro.
That's
I'd be in
Vegas.
Vegas, Yosemite Sam style. Like, what in the rootin' tootin'? Somebody's coming off some money.
Yeah, that's a done deal. I mean, that was still my favorite part of the Super Bowl because the game itself was pretty boring. It was
It
uneventful.
was.
It was one-sided.
It was one-sided. I knew for me going in, I did mention to a couple people, I said the X factor for me was going to be the Kansas City defense, not the Tampa Bay defense. I knew the Tampa Bay defense was good. I knew they were better than Kansas City. Kansas City's defense would have had to stop Brady a lot more than what they did in order to succeed. And that's kind of like duh right now, but I've seen them play well. And I've seen them play poorly, and which team shows up was going to make the difference in that game.
Right.
Because I've seen their DBs are opportunistic, but they have to get pressure on the quarterback, and they fail to do that. So, at worst, if the Kansas City offense wasn't moving, they were going to be in a shootout.
Yeah.
With Tampa Bay, and they never got it together.
Right.
At my restaurant, I work at Buffalo Wild Wings, and Super Bowl was huge for us. We were slammed up
Absolutely.
until about halftime. And then once halftime hit,
Time to go to bed. You got to go to work in the morning.
Yeah.
it was just me and a couple of the employees just sitting down talking. That's all it was, pretty much.
Well, it was
after
like
that.
31. It was like 30
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, the game
30
was
minutes.
pretty much over by
Yeah.
halftime.
Yeah, they were. We're all done.
Which, by the way, I love the weekend memes going around right
Oh,
now.
my God.
So, you know,
That's part number 2. That was probably the best part.
so yeah, and you know what? Like, I'm not. Prior to that, I was not a huge fan of The Weeknd. Like, he's been making some news lately, and I've been reading it, and I'm like, okay, what's this all about? You know, but the Super Bowl halftime show was not bad, and I feel like for the first time in a few years, they only had one artist instead of two. You know, and he put on a good show, man. He put on a good enough show that I went back and started to look into some of his music.
I agree with you on the memes.
Yeah, the memes are from
the memes because they ripped him to shreds on the jockstrap face mask or whatever you want to call whatever they had on their faces for the bandages on their face. They say it looked like jockstraps. I was on the floor all morning reading all about those.
See, the funny one for me was you have 24 hours to deliver the Batman.
I learned something about The Weeknd, that his real name is Abel Tasfaye. Abel Tasfaye. Yeah, Abel Tasfaye, and The Weeknd is the project.
Yes.
So, like, his music, The Weeknd is his project, and that his real name is Abel.
It's a beautiful project. It's an absolute beautiful project. It's been going on since he was like 20 years old. And it's a life and death of an artist, but he keeps dying and then coming back, and then dying and coming back. Because he came out with Trilogy, and then that was 3 full albums of absolute beautiful music. It was R&B. It was soul. It was a little bit of rock, a little bit of I'm going blank on the name. When you do like hallucinogenic, if you're under hallucinogenics,
Psychedelic?
Yeah, psychedelic. Thank you. It was absolute beautiful music, and then you start to see him rise up. He does Kissland, and then he comes out with Beauty Behind the Madness and kills off that last one.
Yeah,
and then you have Starboy come out, and he kills that character, and then it goes into what he is now, where he goes under plastic surgery, making fun of the people who completely change in Hollywood, where he is changing with Hollywood. It's a beautiful project, and you saw little bits of it.
Dude, so I got to thinking about that, and I thought that watching the progression of that, because I never noticed it to begin with, but I was like, man, why has he got his face bandaged? Was he in a car accident? I wonder what happened. Okay, on to the next whatever. Yeah. Right? And I saw that video for
Starboy?
No, Cry Your Tears or something, Cry Later or something like that. You know what I'm talking about?
Save Your Tears.
Yeah, Save Your Tears. And he kills himself at the end?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what you're saying 100% makes sense.
Watch Starboy, because Starboy, he literally like kills himself and buries himself.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so I didn't know anything about that until I was like, why is he at it was at the AMA Awards. He was like all fucking bandaged up and shit. And then I texted my niece, and because she's really into The Weeknd, and she told me the whole thing. She's like, yeah, it's the project that he's doing. I was like, the project? Elaborate.
Exactly.
So I got this 18-year-old girl, you know, schooling me on what the hell The Weeknd's all about. And I'm like, now I got to go back and listen to this guy's music, because this is really profound, you know, the way he's doing it. I'm like, I have to go back and listen to his music.
As a project, I would suggest, like, I've done this multiple times, but just to sit down and start at the beginning of Trilogy and listen through all 3 albums in one hit. It's unbelievable. I've never heard anything more put together than those 3 albums, and I'm surprised they didn't pick off as much as they should have. Because the fact that he's popular now and he's not when he wrote those, blows my mind.
I've been listening to him for about the last 3 years.
Yeah, he's really, really good.
I knew who he was, and I knew the songs that he had out. You know, man, I'm a star boy, and all the other songs, you know, whatever.
Well, he did the soundtrack for 50 Shades, right?
Oh, he did?
He did songs.
He
for
did
him.
earned it. He did earned it.
Yeah, he just did the song for him, and then they asked him for it again in the following. Okay, my girl is both into both 50 Shades of Grey and both The Weeknd. She literally has the Weeknd logo on her arm.
Oh.
So I went through both of those with her, and it's an amazing artist.
So I'd like to present an idea that I've been thinking about ever since just kind of watching the progression of, I don't know enough about his music to say it's the last few albums or whatever, but watching the progression of him being in public, where he goes from himself, and it culminates in this Save Your Tears video, right? Michael Jackson. He sounds like Michael Jackson.
That's the point.
Yeah.
That's the point. If you listen to him from the beginning, he is the reincarnation. The project is the reincarnation of Michael Jackson.
Is that the intention?
Yes, that's the intention.
Holy shit!
Because he was obsessed with Michael Jackson growing up.
Yeah.
That makes perfect sense then.
So if you listen to Trilogy, he has the he's in it, and he has the whole dance move. He has the tone flow to it. It sounds just like Michael Jackson.
Oh man.
Listen to he did Dirty Diana.
I've heard
just
that.
like Michael Jackson did, and he had the same inflections to mirror it. It was an actual cover of him.
Yeah, I have heard that.
Yes.
We've listened to that
Yes.
together. Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting, because I want to go through work, the next day I'm at work, probably Monday, I put my headphone in, and just listen to all of his music because, man, he sounds very like he's one of those, like, I don't want to say bougie artists, but he's one of those artists that it's like
I think he's Kanye,
a concept album.
I think
almost.
it's Kanye before the Kardashians.
See, I'm gonna go a step further, and I'm gonna say that I think his career could parallel those of the greats like Michael Jackson or Prince.
I just think that before Kanye met the Kardashians, I thought he was a genius, and I don't know what happened to his genius. But I feel like
Kim
Fell in love with
Kardashian.
that
I think
ass.
The Weeknd is a genius,
Yeah.
and I think we're just now catching on to it.
Yeah,
For some of us, are just now catching on to it.
which now makes me feel stupid.
I was stupid too. Like,
he hasn't been very popular. Like you said, maybe like I said, I've been listening to music for about 3 years now.
Well, maybe he just hasn't been popular with us.
Yes.
right.
Yeah, he has a huge following.
I think I heard maybe I can't remember what I heard before Earned It to kind of hear like, oh, this is kind of cool song with 50 Shades of Grey. So my thing is I always go digging into the person's history and what they've sang before that. How many albums? That's how I got into Bruno Mars.
Yeah.
So he's just a freaking genius when you start digging into the project and seeing his progress from when he birthed this idea in his head, and this is what it's going to be.
Right.
It's pretty amazing.
It was kind of amazing listening to some of the music, and I threw him off for a little bit because I've been listening for like 8 years, something like that. And I first didn't like him because of the lyrics, and the lyrics are that you would get from a normal rap song where it was about getting pussy, about doing drugs, about doing that. But I realized after going into the albums that was just the hits. That was what they pulled out of the story.
Yeah.
It was a huge track list of a story going from a kid growing up from the streets, getting into drugs, going into the clubs, starting to become popular, starting to not remember where he was waking up, not knowing where he was. And it just followed all the way down in the story, and they were just picking out different tracks from it. And you're going, oh, he's just another R&B artist.
Yeah.
Right.
No.
So pretty much his whole project is like a concept album.
You put play at the beginning of that album, and you will understand.
Yeah, it's like
because
Tommy.
the tone that he puts into that is unbelievable. It's nothing like anything I've ever heard in my life.
Nice.
It's like Rush's 2021.
2112.
Yeah, 2112.
Yep.
2112 album. It's a concept album, but he's done it throughout his whole career.
Yeah.
So every album just correlates with everything else that he's done. So just kind of getting along with the Super Bowl theme. I didn't get to watch all the commercials because I was meal prepping at the same time and trying to get ready for the work week. And did you guys see any of the commercials at all? No, you
Nothing
didn't.
was really memorable. Mm-hmm. There were some that were funny at the time, but they weren't memorable. There's some from the Super Bowls past where I can still remember the Doritos commercial when the guy's girlfriend, the guy came over and the kids. Don't touch my Doritos. You smack the shit out of the guy. Don't touch my Doritos and don't touch my mama.
Yeah.
I don't know how long ago that was, but that's one of my favorite commercials of all time.
I think the Wayne's World
Wayne's World
commercial was kind of funny. I'm not a huge fan of Cardi B, but it was funny. But that was like the highlight of commercials for me.
I really liked the Alexa commercial when she's like, and that's the perfect vessel it could be in. And then it was Michael B. Jordan. And then Michael B. Jordan it was hilarious. And he goes, Alexa, turn on the sprinklers. And the sprinklers go on. He's like, and then the husband comes out. He's like, babe, I already did the sprinklers. It's getting too wet out here. I was like, oh, this shit is hilarious. And he's like, Alexa, read me a book. He's like, it's a long desert dive. And he's like, hold on, maybe someone else got to use the restroom too, man. Oh, this shit was hilarious. It's probably my favorite out of everything that I've watched. And I've seen probably all of the commercials that came out. So we had Alexa, then Miller Lite did a URL one. Did you see the URL was like, you have to punch this whole URL in. And we're not kidding. This is an actual URL. You have to go back and do it just this way. You have to type it in, blah, blah, blah. And it's an actual URL to take you somewhere for something from what Miller Lite did. The Tide Jason Alexander one was kind of funny. The Frito-Lay Super Bowl Legends was kind of hilarious when what's the name, Tom Bradshaw fell down. He's like, oh, nachos. That shit was hilarious. Wayne's World. Then you had the Cheetos one with Mila Kunis and Ashton Kutcher doing It Wasn't Me. That was pretty funny.
That was probably the best one I thought.
That was a good commercial.
And she goes, it wasn't me. And he's like, that actually fucking worked. That actually worked. Then a Bud Light Legends was kind of cool. What else was like? Then Sam Adams, they did the Wiki Hazy, which I went out.
Paramount Plus. Theirs are
I forgot about that one. That was a decent one. They had several ones where Beavis and Butthead was on, and they had like
so funny.
Yes, I forgot about that one. Dr. Squash had one, and then Jimmy John's had their Jimmy John's one. What else? Rocket Mortgage. The Pretty Sure with what's his name from 30 Rock? I forget the comedian that got hit by a Walmart truck. Tracy Morgan. He did a Pretty Sure.
That was a good one.
That was a pretty. He was like, "Do you like knowing or actually? Is it pretty sure?" And he was like, "You pretty sure? Make sure." You know what he said? "I'm pretty sure that these hornets are not the murderous kind." Yeah, that shit was hilarious. But most of them, they were okay. But a lot of them that I liked were probably the Tracy Morgan one. Wayne's World was up there for me, and then obviously the first one I talked about, which was the Alexa one. What else? Any takeaways? Anything else from the Super Bowl you guys want to?
I have to admit, I was disappointed.
I was too, man,
because it wasn't. They hyped it up to be what they call
greatest show on earth.
No, they called what's his name?
Mahomes.
Yeah, they called Mahomes the baby goat. So this is the goat versus the baby goat.
Right.
Baby goat looked terrible.
Yeah, he did.
So it was just a one-sided game, and you're just waiting. Well, maybe they'll make the halftime adjustments. And people who around me and know sports, they talked about the minorities not being hired over the offseason that should have been qualified. They talked about Eric Bieniemy, their offensive coordinator for Kansas City. And I had a couple people where I was, they laid into him because he didn't make that offense move. So I felt terrible with that for that. Because they hyped up Eric Bieniemy to be like, well, I thought they'd make some halftime adjustments.
Nah, man. Tampa Bay's defense was on 10 from start to finish.
They were.
And fun fact, I read that Patrick Mahomes ran for more yards than their team had in offense just to get away.
It was just scrambling. He had the most scrambling yards in NFL history.
Yeah, it was like 544 or 574 or something like that yards.
It was a lot. I don't know if it was that much, but it was a lot. Like when you saw him hike the ball, he's
basically
zigzagging back
running
off.
from
But
he was
all
all over.
behind the line of scrimmage. Most of it's behind the line of scrimmage. The most in NFL history for scrambling. You would think Lamar Jackson would have had it, but still.
So what's that say about Tampa Bay's defense?
They, like you said, they were on 10. I knew that they were good. I didn't know that they were that good.
Right.
They have
Lockdown Tyreek Hill.
Well,
Yeah.
they got that, especially that. And
I mean, if you can lock down Aaron Rodgers too in that offense,
Yeah.
that's already saying something right out the bat as well too. So,
But if you watched the AFC Championship, Tyreek Hill was playing with the DBs. He was like kid juking them at the line of scrimmage, and then he's gone, and Mahomes is like, throwing the ball behind his head, hitting Tyreek Hill on the run. Like, Tyreek Hill, I'm sure, went into the Super Bowl like, I got this. They can't hold me. I'm the fastest guy in the NFL. And if you double Tyreek Hill and chip him at the line of scrimmage and put a big guy or two guys, get yourself a little help on Kelsey, what else are they going to do?
So were they overconfident from the last time they played?
Kansas City?
Yeah, when they played Tampa Bay in the season, Tyreek Hill had over 200 yards in receiving in the first quarter.
I would say that they were overconfident in how they played the week prior to, more so than Tampa. How do you get overconfident with Tom Brady? He's got 6 Super Bowl rings.
They whooped his ass during the regular season.
Yeah, and then
They thought they had the formula.
and then that season gained some traction. Like, you have to remember, man, there was no practice, no preseason. Like,
right.
They basically just went out. And I posed the question. I talk sports at work sometimes with this guy that I bet money with. he's a Dallas fan, so we always have this ongoing
sorry
bet.
to hear about that.
Right. We always have this ongoing bet like every year. And he's like, man, Tom Brady, man, like he's the GOAT. And I said, man, I don't deny that. And maybe this will end up being a conversation for another time. But I said, you know how LeBron went to Miami and he said, I want to play with Dwayne Wade and I want to play with Bosh. And they made it happen. They win championships. And then he goes back to Cleveland. He says, I want to play with A, B, and C. And they make that happen. And he win championships. And he goes to L.A. I want to play with A, B, and C. They make that happen. And they win championships. So now these teams, through free agency and through communication amongst players, are like, hey, man, I'm going to go to the L.A. Clippers and play next year. What do you think? Yeah, man, I'll go. Okay, we need to try to get such and such to go too. All right, man, we can get ourselves a championship, right? That's essentially what Tom Brady did. Tom Brady went to the Buccaneers. He said, man, Gronk, why don't you come back? Why don't you come out of retirement? Play one more year. Let's try to get ourselves a ring, dude. It's fun down here. It's Florida. There's beer, women, and football. Okay, dude, I'm in. Then he talks them into getting Antonio Brown, picking Antonio Brown up with all of his offseason hoopla. He ain't played. When's the last time Antonio Brown took a snap prior to being picked up by the Buccaneers?
He ain't do shit, though.
No, he did. Because Tom Brady only threw touchdowns to those two people in the Super Bowl.
Antonio Brown.
Okay.
Antonio Brown was clutch.
When he played one game for the Raiders.
Yep.
In the last couple of years, maybe.
And he played for the Patriots. He played
He
one game.
tried to play for the Patriots. I don't think he took a snap.
Yeah, he did.
Did he?
He had like 2 catches, handful of yards.
Either way, he's been such a
Nuisance.
who nobody really wanted him except for Tom Brady, and Tom Brady got. And here's the thing: they already had Chris Godwin and Evans.
Yeah, and Tom Brady said, "I want LaFont, the running back. Who's the running back?
LaShawn McCoy.
No, in Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
No, who's their starter? LaFournette.
No. Well, did they get him? They
Yeah.
sure did get him
Yeah,
afterwards.
Tom Brady says, I want him. They get him. They win themselves a championship. So now that this is on paper, right, and Tom Brady, the most glorified football player to ever play the game now with 7 Super Bowl rings, has put himself together a dream team. Our agents, our NFL players going to start signing shorter contracts so that they can go play on teams and create dynasties.
Nah, I think
it's not as easy to do.
Yeah,
It's not as easy to do with long-term contracts, but if the NFL players and the players union stick together on this and they say we sign shorter contracts, we allow for more movement, you maximize your money. If you win a championship and you decide to stay, they give you more money. You sign a 1 year or 2 year deal.
The reason I think that doesn't work like that is because you risk injury. You risk life.
Yeah.
Not life, but career-ending injuries.
You do.
So if you have a busted knee and you can't play anymore and you sign a 2 year deal, you got that 2 year contract and you're done.
Right. I am curious on what the contract lengths are. Tom Brady signed a 2 year?
2.
Okay, so what did Gronk sign? What did Brown sign?
Probably 1.
And what did Fournette sign?
Fournette probably did he already have a contract, or he's probably just a 1 year?
Long enough to get themselves a championship?
I think they were sweetening up the team for Brady, giving him as many weapons as he could.
Of course they
to
did.
try to win it this year.
And it worked.
They're going to go back too.
I don't
I
see them being as effective. I don't. I'd be willing to put a bet right now that they will not
be effective at all.
I would never say that.
It's just something to think about and something to watch. Like in the next decade, will the structure of NFL contracts change and the structure of dealings change so that players have more freedom, like the NBA, to go to teams that they want to play on?
Sure.
They won't go to the Super Bowl.
I mean, the Bears beat
Exactly.
Tampa Bay at the beginning of the season, and that just kind of piggybacks on what Brandon was saying, that there was no practice, no preseason, none of that, and maybe that's why the Bears had a little leg up on them.
I mean, Brown was a mid-season acquisition.
Mm-hmm.
Fournette was a mid-season acquisition.
Well,
so Tom
yeah,
Brady's
there you
out
go.
there getting his ass handed to him, and he says, give me A, B, and C, and I will bring you a championship. And he did.
How many players do you think would actually have the balls to actually stand up to it, though? because
that's
the
difference.
issue.
Because
the issue.
NBA Players Union stays together stronger, which is why their contracts are shorter and their payout is higher. Yes. The NFL Players Union, they will throw each other under the bus.
Yes, they will.
And that's why there's no unification in the NFL as far as the Players Union goes. But now that we've seen this actually happen, he talked it and he did it. Yeah. Does the Players Union say, okay, man, enough of the bullshit. We need to start sticking together.
It's whether
we
or
need
not
to start having each other's back.
Do you want to have better entertainment or do you want to have more money?
And
that's what they're dealing
But
with.
they go hand in hand.
Yeah, those go hand in hand.
They do.
So for people who mildly watch the NFL or like, yeah, I turn it on Sundays, but unless the Eagles are playing, it's just background noise to me. Mm-hmm. Right?
I don't understand that.
Yeah, I know you don't. I know you don't. Mr. Mr. Statman over here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But for people like me who are really only concerned in watching their teams play, and then I sit and watch games, but I'm not in tune. If I'm hungry, I'm going to make wings for 30 minutes. Right. And if I miss something, it's not a huge deal to me.
Ouch.
Right?
Marlon's over here like, oh,
killing me.
Yeah.
But the entertainment value goes hand in hand with that. So if you have these players, if you have more superstars that are signing shorter contracts, that are bouncing from team to team, and you have a players union that backs that up, that's good for revenue.
Yes, it is.
That's good for revenue on different teams. The Detroit Lions in 10 years could win a championship if they could get people to say, hey, let's all go meet up in Detroit and let's play. Let's bring the city a championship.
Then what's the draft?
Then they get paid out, and then they disperse.
I still think the problem is injuries.
I think the problem is the players' union more so than injuries.
I think it's the greed that you have
You
have multiple different. I mean, you have owners for every single team.
Certainly.
Yes. Same thing with the NBA, but you got more viewers on it. And the people who are owning these teams in football are greedy motherfuckers. And you really it's going to be really hard to convince them to not easily get an 18-year-old guy straight out of high school going, do you want an NFL contract or do you want to just hope you get something else? And it's going to be hard for those owners to give that out because they can suffocate and go for younger. Yeah. And that's the hard issue that you have because NBA, they have viewers, but they don't have as many, so they don't have as much power on those teams to go, do you guys just want to get all together and we all just team up and we just switch out players constantly? And it's going to be hard for some of those owners to accept.
NBA viewers watch the NBA teams being assembled for the same reason that if they're old enough, they watch the 90s Bulls. It was a dream team that played in the NBA. Mm-hmm. And then when you had Shaq and Kobe and Fisher and
that was 98,
Odom and
that was the beginning of super teams.
Yeah, when they all came together and they said let's win a championship, and they did. They won several. People started to watch again, and now you have big name players moving from team to team, and that's what's pushing. If Steph Curry left the Warriors, right. I know. If he decided to go to, say, Philadelphia.
Nah.
I know.
Brooklyn.
But hear me out. Yeah, Brooklyn is...
I'm tired of Brooklyn.
Brooklyn is trying.
Let's go to
Brooklyn is trying.
Brooklyn's trying hard.
Yeah, but let's say he went to Philadelphia, and then Kawhi Leonard says, yeah, man, I'll go. Well, let's meet up in Philly. And then, with the acquisition of a few star players and some young players, because Philadelphia is a relatively young team, right? Championship bound.
Their window's closed, and I could see that if they made a trade and traded Steph Curry for Ben Simmons, man, that whole team would be totally different.
You would watch, wouldn't you?
Oh yeah,
that's my point.
Mm-hmm. When you move the big names around, like they did, like you mentioned Brooklyn.
Yeah.
When Brooklyn got Harden.
Yep.
Oh my God, was the spotlight was so fat on Brooklyn. You knew exactly what was going on every night, so you knew exactly when they had that 3-game losing streak with all of them in the lineup.
Yeah, right.
So it doesn't always work. Maybe they'll iron some stuff out by the playoffs, but Yeah,
Look,
I get what you mean.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, total tangent, but just something to think about in the future.
No, for sure. No, yeah. I mean, shit. I mean, this is old school Brews and View shit right here, bro. Hell yeah. So, I mean, I gave you guys all a blackberry tart from Mad Anthony Brewery here in Fort Wayne, Indiana. It is at 10 IBUs, 4.2 ABV, which is alcohol by volume. It's a kettled sour ale brewed with blackberries. And I have to say, I'm already done with this bad boy. I didn't even want to give these out. I wasn't going to
Pour
start.
mine in a cup.
And it has a beautiful color, too. I wish I had a glass. Just want to just pour it out. I wish I had a glass because it has a beautiful color. And I want to see what it looks like poured into a glass, what the head looks like and everything, to kind of get like all of that. I don't know. Are you a blueberry fan, Marlon? Are you a blueberry
I
fan?
like blueberry, the fruit.
Blueberry. The fruit?
The flavor?
What else was there?
Yeah, blueberries.
No,
Like
there's blueberry flavoring and then there's actual blueberries.
I thought you were about to go like the pasta, and I'm like, whoa, wait a second.
No.
Well, I mean, I have to say that it's a tart as well, like a sour tart, and it doesn't have like an overbearing like tart taste to it at all. It's not really sour. It goes down really well. It's only 4.2 ABV, so you're not going to get too schmam caked on one of these bad boys. So you can possibly have 2 of them. You can possibly have, he said, 4 of them. Yeah, I wasn't going to give you guys the other one because I was like, ooh, I'm going to crack this next one
I
open
was going
because
to
this
say,
is
if
good.
we had a cup, I'd rather try it. I don't want to waste
Let's
it.
pour out these water bottles real quick.
I don't want to waste it.
I don't have a
It
cup.
won't go to waste.
It won't
Just
go to
try.
waste.
It's not bad.
It-
You know what? I feel like I've been talking. I just went off on a tangent for the
Nah,
Super
go
Bowl.
ahead.
So
Go ahead.
I want somebody else
Right.
to like.
So-
I do beer reviews all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the funny thing is that the last one we reviewed, the Pixie Mix,
Bro,
that
It's good.
oh my god, that is
So good.
you've had it?
Yeah, you gave it to me.
No, we had the grape. The grape was better.
Get this out. Oh,
Y'all had the grape Thursday,
Yeah,
and then which one?
The fruit.
I had the
We had
sour
the
me
fruit.
one.
I don't know. I wasn't there.
You weren't there. He wasn't there for the fruit. The fruit punch.
I didn't have the fruit punch. I had the strawberry.
I didn't come over for the past 2 Saturdays. So
No.
if you had it on a
no.
Saturday, that
We did.
Yeah, because
had-
you were here.
Pixie
You were
had the
there.
fruit punch.
You were
had
there,
the
and then
fruit
we
punch?
had it, and I was like, "Oh my god, it tastes like nerds."
Because I said no.
no, that's not the one.
Sour me.
That's the sour meat.
Which
That's
one are
the
you talking
Duke
about
Claw.
then?
I'm talking about the fruit punch pixie.
So maybe it
mix.
was me.
It was you
Oh,
because
yeah.
you
Never
came
mind.
over. We hit the
guys really
basement,
sound like a bunch
and I
of
said,
alcohol.
before you start drinking, I want to pour this for you. I want you to try this before.
I can't
we
remember
get
what we
drunk,
had,
so
but
you
we
can
had it.
remember.
It was great.
So yeah, it
We had a
was
good
you,
time.
Okay, I don't
must
remember
spell.
having it. So I mean, what were we gonna say about the
bro. The grape
grape is on?
is on another level.
See, I feel like the sour me, the sour me one with the grape and strawberry one, like it didn't really have that. It wasn't really fruitful. It didn't have a lot of like fruitness in it, and I felt like it should have had. And it didn't. You couldn't really taste the grape out of it, and you got like a little bit of like strawberry aftertaste.
Dude, it tasted like nerds.
Maybe my taste buds are still fucked up because of COVID and shit. I don't know. Maybe whatever. I don't know. But I just didn't feel like I got that grape in there. But this right here, this blackberry tart,
That boy good.
that boy is good. This boy is good. It's and I have to say like what you always say like for taste, like can I drink one of these? Yeah, I just drank the whole thing. How many of these can I drink? I probably can drink all 4 of these mugs, especially having it be down 4.2 ABV with the alcohol content is not so high. The IBUs are relatively low, where it doesn't have that huge tartness on it as well. I really enjoy this. I see myself going back to the liquor store and getting another 4-pack of this, just because I want to pour it into a glass and see how it looks, what the color looks like, what the head looks like, how it looks like. Is it clear? Does it have a lot?
Looks
of,
red.
Is it dense? I know it's red. I know it has a nice little color to it, but I want to see like, does it have like a really dense like cloudy look to it, or like what does it look like? That's what I'm really like curious about right now.
We have an empty water bottle.
We don't. I mean, we could cut one open.
Do one.
I'm okay with it.
It ain't that deep. Man.
It ain't that deep. I'm definitely
It's not what I
probably.
thought- it's not what I thought it was going to be.
What did you think? What did you think it was going to be?
Anytime I see tart and sour, I get this little back here.
Yeah.
And what kind of brought me down just a little bit are the IBUs. So if you know me and I talk about IBUs, I have a threshold.
This is in your wheelhouse.
This is in my wheelhouse, and it actually is. It's in there.
Speaking on that, I actually do appreciate the designers on this can to actually put the IBUs forward and front facing into it, because there's a lot. Honestly, because
Stuff is hidden, man.
I have to teach a lot of my servers about beer and about how to read them, how to do everything. The easiest way to actually teach them was the IBUs, because I would go, if the higher the number it is, the bitterer it's going to be. So if they're looking for something softer, you're going to be looking for this number. And I give them a cheat sheet, and it is the beer and the IBUs right next to it.
Right.
So if we had every freaking can that had the IBUs on it, you can pretty much tell if it's going to be super sour or if it's going to be softer on you.
So,
I wish that they do that more on the cans.
Right. Or when they're hoppy.
I appreciate that completely.
or when they're hoppy, because if it's
my God.
if it's an IPA or something that is more or on the hoppier side, because there's a tons of hops in it, and the IBUs are around like 60, 70, 80.
Somebody try to give me one around 90.
Who would that be?
I about spit it out.
Who would have that been?
Well, you guys know one of our viewers, Chris Durnell.
Yes.
Yes.
He gave me something that was. I mean, you can smell it before you even. You can smell it before you even drink it.
Oh.
You can tell it was hopped up, and I'm like, I don't know about this one. What's the IBUs? I don't know. Just try it. And we're outside. I was like, trying to find the closest place to spit that out because it was so bad. I think my threshold is about 30 IBU because a lot of my the lagers, ales, they have like almost like trace elements of IBUs in those, so they're not sour, they're not tart, they're not hoppy, they're not. I consider it pungent when I drink them. So if it's under 30, it's usually a good indicator for me. Like if he's teaching his servers about using IBUs, that's actually pretty smart. I've never heard of that, but that sounds genius.
Well, yeah, because
it works out very, very
yeah, because it gives you if it's going to be overbearing or not for your taste buds. And yeah, I think this is really good. And I was looking at the rest of the 4-pack down on the floor, and I was like, man, I wanted to give the rest of these to these guys. And I was like,
He's like, damn it.
and I was as I was snapping them off on the thing, I was like,
Honestly, when we had that in the group message where like everybody bring their own beer kind of thing, and we'll all just share one, I'm like, yeah, that ain't gonna work out too
I
well.
was going to say, how is that going to work?
Well, no. I think the idea was
That
that
we
everybody
poured
just
it.
kind of.
Yeah.
do that
I mean,
favor.
this is your 50th episode, right?
Yeah.
The
How
50th.
long we've been doing beer reviews,
I know, right?
right? So between the four of us, we've had hundreds of beers
Right.
since we've been doing this, and I think it was like, man, what's one of your favorites? Review that, revisit that. I mean, that's why I brought the beer that I brought.
Yeah.
That's why I brought
Well,
the beer.
I mean, talk about the beer you brought then.
Nah, bro, because I mean, I'm not even gonna open it. Like I got two. And this will go back on the shelf. But if I could, real quick, man, I would like to talk about Matt Anthony's Blackberry Tart. So the color was the first thing that I noticed when I cracked it, and that color, man, that's pretty purple. You know what I'm saying? So the color kind of took my mind to the density. We just recently did the Pixie Mix. It was real light, real effervescent. It was purple, but it was like light purple, not Barney purple.
It was almost fluorescent.
Right. So this particular one, I feel like was a darker purple. So then I started to look at the can because I'm thinking, how did they get it so dark? Is it going to be dense? And did they use lactose sugar instead of regular sugar, like corn sugar, to brew this to get it a little thicker than a typical tart ale or sour to try to hold the flavor of the blackberry better? And so as I'm looking, it says that they used 756 pounds of blackberries to try to brew this. No lactose sugar needed because there's so much sugar in the fruit.
Right.
That adds to the density of the beer. So that was just a few things I noticed. I mean, aside from the taste, it doesn't taste like vomit, which, if you know me and sours, typically, I think sours taste like vomit sometimes. I've had a handful of good ones. But it was nice. It was light. It's very drinkable. Ice cold. This beer would be paramount. I think ice cold on a warm day, man, or out on the golf course. Yeah. This is a good drink.
Yeah.
So
I would actually agree with that. Like I said, whenever I must be with you on sours and tarts, because even the smell,
it's not.
The smell doesn't. I mean, it's not
pungent. Like
it's not. It's not fruity though. So I don't think it's a fruity smell, and that's what also throws me off, and that's why I thought, man, maybe this might be bad. So when we smelled the Pixie Mix, off the bat, you knew you were in heaven,
bro.
Like the aroma,
Grape
you could
Crush.
just go like this and be
it smelled like, you know, when you take the top off a Grape Crush. That's what it smells like.
And it's pretty loud. It's not like it stays right here. I mean, it aerates. We opened it up, man. It's like it took up our space.
Wow. If I can get my hands on more, but I think that Untitled Art is such a hoity-toity, bougie-ass, exclusive establishment that is probably more concerned with the art than they are the beer. You might be able to order it online. I think you can get a 4-pack for like $16.
Hold on, where?
But how
it's out of Waunakee, Wisconsin.
But how
it's called Pixie Mix, right?
Yeah. Untitled Arts Pixie Mix.
Where did you get it?
How did Deer Park get it?
I don't know. I'm sure they ordered it because Deer Park's known for craft beers. So a friend of mine from Kelly Box, he's a beer enthusiast, and I've drank with him once, but he watches our beer reviews, and so he sent a 4-pack of beer to my work via our salesman and was like, hey, he sent me a picture of the Pixie Mix. He's like, would you try this? I was like, hell yeah, I would try that. Like, nothing about that looks gross. And so he sent a 4-pack of beer with our salesperson and was like, hey, on a Friday, Chris wanted me to drop this off. You available? And I was like, yeah, man. So I threw it in the car. Like, we exchange beers sometimes. I send beer with our salesperson back for Chris. Chris sends beer with our salesperson back to me, and it was just an excellent find. Like, dude, it was a 5. Hands down, 5. The minute you open it, you know it's going to be a 5. That's how good it was. Yeah.
And I think that was my first 5 in a super long time. Maybe my second overall. And I don't know if he thinks I'm strict or not, but I just think that there's something better.
In particular.
I just think there's something better. And I'll rate something lower just because something may be better. I can't think of anything that would be better than that one.
Yeah. Yeah, it was
rare
delicious
for me.
But this beer, this blueberry tart, this is really good. And to be local, and you said you picked this up at a liquor store?
Yep.
Man, that's what brewery doesn't aspire to be that way?
And you know what? And I've always been down on Mad Anthony's brews because I feel like when you go to the restaurant, they give you the same 5, 6, or 7 brews, and I'm getting tired of it. So this is a breath of fresh air for them. For me, like, do you have this on tap where I can get a meal with this?
Yeah,
that would be awesome if they do have it on tap. And I would. You just released not too long ago, like maybe a few weeks ago. So
yeah, it's only been like 2
We
weeks.
probably missed it.
Probably did. Probably did.
Like, put it back in the reserves.
I'm trying to find it online here because I do want to find. You know what? We might have to make a stop over at what was the bar called?
Deer Park.
Deer Park.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to stop. I'm gonna have to start going to Deer Park to go get some of my beers because I'm starting to, dwindle away all the beers that I can get at the liquor store, the ones that I go to that I go to a lot, and I'm just like, had it. I feel like the guys off of Breaking Bad.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say something else.
I feel like the guys off of Breaking Bad, like, got it. They're looking through all the comics and they're just like, got it.
That's
I feel like
Big Bang Theory.
Yeah, Big Bang Theory. I feel like that. That's what I do when I go to the liquor store. I'm like,
yeah,
had it.
You need to start going to different liquor stores.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Have you been to the one? What is that over off Maysville Road? Right in front of the Walmart. It's right off Maysville. That's facing the road. Is that a Cap and Cork, or
I'm not
Captain
sure.
Cork.
that one looks pretty huge. I've never been in there, so I don't know what kind of variety they have.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
I've
yeah.
never been in there.
You know, and I've noticed this at some liquor stores. They kind of they have like their like what they like. I can't get my words out. What they kind of get into more of. Like some places have more wine, some places have more beer, some places have more of this, you know, whatever liquor. And I know the one that I go to downtown, they have tons of beer there. And I'm kind of going through
the Belmont, isn't it?
Yeah, the Belmont,
Yep.
right
Yeah.
there. And
That's where I go from.
Have you tried the Belmont up north off DuPont by the movie theater?
I need to go.
That is huge, and they got almost everything in there.
Or out in Times Corner.
It's like
every kind of beer.
Times Corners.
there's
you
nothing
hit
I
that-
can't find in there. I mean,
You hit the back at Times
I'm gonna
Corners.
stop there a couple times.
I would. I mean,
warm,
I'm
but
gonna
what's up?
I'm gonna have
it's
to
a
start.
different. You're picking from different areas, so
Hell yeah.
they got different clientele more likely.
I would have known about that.
But to get those,
go to that one.
get those really rare and unique beers, you probably find more of those at Deer Park. That you're not going to find those at like the liquor stores
That's
because
true.
they're looking for them and they're ordering them specifically for this because they have sought them out and that's what they're looking for.
Are they brewing their own at Deer Park? I don't know.
Nope.
No, they've
They're
always
not?
just been this hole in the wall bar that just Hey, I mean it's a hole in the wall bar.
I got 2 ears now.
I thought you were like, why are you calling it a hole in the wall bar?
No. I was like, what just happened?
It's like surround sound.
That's where I went to Deer Parks. They were my first beer tasting
Oh, nice.
several years ago, like probably 6 or 7 years ago now, and that's where I was introduced to the idea of craft beer. I went with one of Chris Gerardo's cousin, and we went there, and I'd never been to one, so I was drunk in 20 minutes. Luckily, there were food trucks outside. They had cigars for sale, so we were puffing cigars. They had a live band. It was an amazing time. I'm like, why has it never been back?
Right.
And I have not made it to is it Tryon down in New Haven?
Tryon, yeah.
For
Tryon, yeah.
Brewhaven. I had 2 couples getting married the day that I bought tickets. 3 years ago, August 6th. I had to go to 2 weddings and I could not go to Brewhaven.
They were intentionally.
I'm still a little salty.
They were intentionally knocking you out because the first couple was just like, "Oh, we're just going to get married." And you're like, "Oh, that's cool." And then the other one was like, "Hey, knock out the rest of his day. Come on."
Man, that's exactly how it went.
Or you could have just gone to that. And then been like, hey, man, here's beer. One for you and one for you.
Oh, that would have been a drunk hairs. If you can give it to them or don't spray it on them or whatever. But
Yeah, man. Hey, man.
I'll never forget that. That was my one opportunity that I actually had off of work and everything to go to Brewhaven.
Nice.
I have not been able to make it back, or at least try.
We should try to make it to one.
I definitely would like to make
Hell
one.
yeah, man.
I'd go.
The tickets are not cheap at all, but I hear the experience is worth it.
That's what I'm about, though. Just the experience and
Dude, I'm. So I always think about like beer tasting or like you were doing like whiskey tasting at.
With my brother.
Yeah.
That was bourbon.
Yeah, and I'm like, man, what would I do? Like, I would be so drunk so fast. I think I would be that arrogant asshole that would be like carrying around the spitter. But it tasted pine, and like spit it into the thing, and people are like, "What the fuck is he doing?"
Well, that's exactly what they had, though. They had little buckets where you can spit your beer out if
you
you're
would
done.
have to. You would be trashed so quick.
I did.
I wouldn't take the memo. I'd just go
But
for it.
with my brother, like I said, he used to work at a liquor store, I think it was called Liquor Barn, down in Louisville. If anyone's familiar, that the store that he worked at looked like the Walmart of liquor stores. Whoa. It even had 8 beers on tap that you can get beers and walk around while you're shopping. It had a walk-in
Road trip.
humidor. It was pretty amazing, and they had some kind of like food vendors were brought in. But so I had this maple bourbon with bacon popsicle. Hey,
Yes.
don't knock it till you try
I
it.
know.
That reminded
I want to give it a try already.
Did that just
man.
remind you of the voodoo?
Yes.
The voodoo breakfast.
Every time I think about bacon.
God, maple
that was-
donut bacon.
Yeah, maple.
I've
yeah.
had that. It's probably good.
Oh my God, no.
No, it
no,
wasn't.
no,
It was
no.
horrible.
This
Well,
was bacon.
If you
this
thought-
was bacon water.
Yeah, if you thought that sours tasted like vomit,
Oh my gosh.
we'll give you this.
yeah, that popsicle I had, it tasted just like maple, but it did have chunks of bacon in it. You can barely taste the bourbon because there was an ice cream you had. Remember the Yummy Bunny was here? Mm-hmm. They had a bourbon flavored. It wasn't alcoholic, but it was a bourbon flavored ice cream. Tasted just like bourbon. Like bourbon and sugar. It was like a sweetened bourbon. It was actually pretty good.
I would probably try that.
Man,
Like bourbon flavored ice cream with walnut.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
Man, I had a cheese taco.
Now you're going to be in the
earlier
ice cream
today, man.
making
I'm
business.
hungry. Y'all are making me hungry of this, man.
Yeah, I had leftovers.
Man,
today.
guys, we have talked for 2 hours and 15 minutes, and we still have some other topics to talk about. I'm trying to throw out the feelers here on where you guys are at, but I am totally okay if we kind of cut it off from here. But if you want to continue going, I saw some head nods of just stopping it. But if you guys still want to go on, I mean, we can. I do want to get on one topic. Just maybe not. Maybe we'll do some of these cards and then we'll end the day. How about that?
Here's what I think, bro.
What's that?
I think we save these topics because by the time you hit 75, we should reconvene. Every 25 episodes, we get together.
Hell yeah. Let's do it.
Just a little conglomeration of minds.
Oh, yeah.
50. That's cool, man. That's cool.
Yeah.
Like 50 episodes. That's pretty awesome. So like to be a part of it. Like, of course, did you not think it was gonna go freaking 4 hours? you know what I'm
I
saying?
knew it was going to go over an hour and a half. I just
we
knew it
originally
was.
started, we usually started at 6 o'clock and ended by 1, 2 in the
'cause
morning.
For some
And
reason,
then we go play drums, and then we go
for some reason we ramble.
I don't know.
I mean,
I don't think we've rambled as much this time because the topics were so good, and there's a lot of
There's a lot of
depth.
information sitting
There's
at
a lot
this
of
table.
depth.
yeah.
And I thought that we tapped into quite a bit of it. So
Heck yeah. I think we
this
did a
was-
really
this
good
was-
job.
This was really good.
So I think number 75. I mean, if you'd have us back,
Hell,
then
absolutely.
maybe
Have
that's
you-
what we need to do.
Have you guys back on 53 if y'all wanted to.
And what y'all doing next week?
I'm itching for some new people. But let's sign it off with a couple of these would you rather, and then we're done for the night. Okay. Would you rather have deep dish or thin crust pizza?
I'm thin crust.
Thin crust.
I've been thin crust because I've had the deep dish. I've had a deep dish that almost killed me.
What?
What?
Yeah.
Was
Pizza?
Was
Yeah.
too much? Or did it?
Dude, I was eating it. I took a bite out of it, and I'm chewing it. It's really delicious. And I start swallowing it, and the cheese was stretching from my sternum all the way up here. So I'm choking on it.
What did you have to pull it out?
I did. I'm sitting
Did
like
someone-
a magic trick.
Did someone not tell you have to eat it with scissors?
No, I was not educated on scissors. I was doing a magic trick at a restaurant.
Was there a chicken nugget attached to the end of it?
No, it was not. It finally snapped and I swallowed it.
Wow.
Yeah, dude, a thin crust. I do like thick crust pizza. I am looking forward to eating at Giordano's, but thin crust all day long.
I'm taking my niece to Blaze Monday.
I haven't been to Blaze yet.
Blaze is worth it, but Big Apple Pizza to me is still number one pizza in the city.
Big Apple Pizza is pretty fucking good, man.
And they moved downtown now.
It
so
reminds
did
me
they
of,
really?
It reminds me of New York pizza.
exactly.
It reminds me of
Exactly.
New York pizza. If you just have a slice of cheese pizza, New York style pizza, man.
Fold it in
It's-
half and eat it, bro.
it's so
I love
fucking
the
good.
crispy crust. If you got a crispity, crunchy crust,
Yes.
and you get those toppings on there, you have to fold it, and you're basically eating like a pizzone.
right?
And it's amazing.
I'm more of a deep dish guy, so
All right.
Corey.
To me, I feel like they're two different meals. Because I feel like if it's a deep dish, it's almost like a lasagna. I eat it with a fork.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then the New York
Yeah,
style
yeah.
pizza, you just fold it up and eat it like a taco. Either way, you're not eating it like what it is. But I'm deep dish all the way because I get more flavor out of it than
Deep
just
dishes.
grease, cheese, and
When's the last
marinara.
time you had Ollie's?
Ollie's?
Oh man,
Oh, it's been a minute.
that
but
needs to happen.
I live
soon.
right by one, and I haven't been in there.
it's so good.
There's a liquor store and there's an Ollie's right on
Perfect.
the corner.
It's like
Oh, what?
Coliseum and Lake.
Yes.
yeah, you drink it on the way in.
You need to
But
go get you
I've
some.
not been in Ollie's in probably decades.
We need to, yes, that needs to happen. Get some blackberry tart and an Ollie's deep dish pizza.
Yeah. Where does it go? I don't sleep with any noise. It's pitch black.
I have to have something.
He comes in with a machete, and they're both in the ER
I
taking
got
on
this
trauma.
shit.
Honestly, man, I like my death. I like my stuff fresh. So I don't need somebody's dead body that's already got
A dead body.
Have you ever heard of skin slippage? When it's been dead for a while, the skin starts sliding off.
Oh,
You've never seen that?
No.
Yeah, that's why I go for the fresh stuff. I don't want to see that.
go for the fresh stuff. I don't want to see that.
Man.
I'm gonna have to go with Marlon in the ER because
No, you meant Dahmer.
I didn't say I caused it. I just said I wouldn't look away.
right. I'm gonna have to go with
my gosh.
Marlon with the busiest ER trauma, and then the last one that we're gonna do for tonight. Oh shit!
Yeah.
Corey, I
No,
thought we
you-
already had you.
No, you're good.
All right, go ahead.
I think I would pick the morgue. I think I'd fit better in the ER with the amount of speed and the environment that it's in. I think I'd do better in that, but I feel like I would never walk away from it.
With the
Like,
morgue?
yeah, the work, because you would be constantly at that state of mind where you're rushing and you're trying to make sure everything's okay, and you just don't leave work because that's the distraction. Kind of like when you work in like the restaurant business, where there is no out time. It's when we stop. That does not stop. So I would feel inclined just not to leave because I'd be afraid of everybody else having to deal with the problem. I think personally I couldn't step away. So I think the morgue would be a better fit overall. That way I'd at least see my family.
There you go.
I don't know, man. I love the action.
Me too.
Clearly.
I like how both the people with the girl at home both go morgue.
Clearly. All right, last one here. Would you rather wear a monitor that beeps when you're lying or beeps when you're attracted to someone?
Would you rather wear?
Would you rather wear a monitor that beeps when you are lying or beeps when you are attracted to someone?
Oh, bro. I feel like I would die either way. So, like,
Where's the speaker?
yeah. So here's the thing: is that attracted to someone depending on who you happen to be traveling with, and if she knows that's why it's beeping. Death. Next thing you know, you're in the trauma unit with Marlon. Right?
Look at that wound. Look at that bite wounds.
But like the lying, everybody does it, and I don't mean like the like, hey man, I caught a fish that was the size of a fucking dinosaur. Like not that kind of lie, right? Thanks. Yeah, but like I lie to people at work sometimes. I'm like, hey man, everything is gonna be all right, and then I walk away, and I'm like,
It's like beep. I can't wait for you to get out of here.
yeah, you know, like shit. How can I help everything to be all right so that I don't look like a liar? You know what I'm saying? Like that kind of thing. So like in that instance, or when you are being reassuring to someone when you're not sure at all, and that beep goes off. That's, I mean, how many people are going to jump off a bridge or end up in the ER with Marlon? You know what I mean? Because they don't believe your lie.
Right.
The attractive thing, I mean, I guess there's only one person that really gives a shit about that, and if it goes off, then I could be like, we was just praying. No, man, I would have to say the attracted one, hands down. Not because I enjoy lying to people, but reassurance is a lie if you don't believe it,
right.
You know. And when you're trying to be supportive, sometimes you just have to stick your foot out there and fake it so you make it. That's a lie,
Right.
you know what I mean?
Yep.
So
I would. I'm not a good liar, so for it to beep really wouldn't matter to me. I've come to the point in life where I'm usually straight up anyway. The only problem I would have is, I don't know if you've ever, when you're attracted to someone and you're like, what do I say? How do I say it? And me, I'll start sweating profusely. So the beep is going to like, help me out. Hey, you hear this beeping, so you know I'm interested, so hook a brother up. But I'm definitely a terrible liar, but I'll never forget when we were vacationing in the Dominican, and my friend's like, man, go talk to her, man. It's this dime piece at the bar. Okay? I was like, what am I going to say? All I know is I can say my name. Hi, I'm Marlon. I had Niagara Falls running down my face.
All the sweat glands open
trying
up.
to talk this lady. And then I know I'm wiping off sweat trying to talk to her, wiping off sweat trying to talk to her, wiping off sweat trying to talk to her, studying through, wiping off sweat as I'm talking to her. And she was so nice and gracious enough to not be like, hit the road, Jack. But I needed probably a little bit of help, and like, I'm interested. Just talk to me. But you can't do that like on like if you've ever done like dating apps. So when I'm at the grocery store and I see this person at the grocery store in the salad section, and I start stuttering over myself, beep beep, help a brother out.
Beep beep, who got the keys to the Jeep?
I feel like the end of that Dominican story was like, girl, you know what I want to say.
It was awful. It was probably one of my worst performances ever.
Girl, you know what I mean.
Exactly. That's what you want to scream on the way out. You're like, she's never going to go for that.
That's awesome.
Wipe sweat off as I walk away.
Can you imagine, like, if they actually got together and they're like, how'd you guys meet? Well, I heard his beeping.
He kept wiping sweat, and I thought, man, if I could get that wet.
I could swear he just got out of the pool.
If I could get that wet.
He had waff. Wet ass for him.
I don't cook. I don't clean. Let me tell you how I got in them jeans.
That's right. That beat.
That'll be the dance that goes with it.
Oh my God! I hope there's a video that goes with it too.
We can make it happen.
We're gonna make a TikTok video of
Dude, that is what's
the waff dance.
Hey, we never did do that.
I know we got to do this.
I was practicing too.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
Damn. Oh my gosh, that is awesome.
I want to do it so bad.
If I had that beep on, it would beep. That if I said I was practicing too, it'd be beep.
I would probably go with the lying thing because I'd rather it beep when I like it. I'm more of an honest person. Like, I may word my things in different ways, but overall, I'm completely honest with people, whether they like it or not, because I'd rather them have the truth than try to run around with it. With the attractive one, I just think that would cause a lot of unneeded bullshit. Because I'd rather not like get in trouble for something like that, or people just staring at me and just going, "Well, he's beeping. That means he's God damn it!"
Right.
You know where that would tell on you is when you're walking with your girlfriend, or your significant other.
Oh,
and you stare at some chick and beep beep beep, and you're not talking.
And that starts
you
a
are
fight.
In deep shit. Why are you beeping, honey?
Why are you beeping?
You didn't say anything.
I'm next to you, baby.
I was thinking about it.
I was thinking about you.
I'm next to you, baby. And then if it was because I lied, it'd be beep 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 beep.
Oh,
beep.
my
I smelled those pretzels, and it made me think of our first date.
I would have to go with lying because I'm trying to lie a little bit here and there, so to help me out to like be more of an honest individual. That's where I was sticking with that one.
Yeah.
All right, well, guys, I had a fucking fantastic time. I am so thankful for you guys to be on the show this evening. And for all you folks out there listening to the podcast this evening, make sure you listen to Three Crafty Bastards every Thursday, either with a beer review or a little bit of show going on. Also, don't forget to listen to the Pull Up and Pour Up podcast, which is on Tuesdays now, not on Mondays. It's on Tuesdays around noon. And then check out Josh Parker with the Unique Beats. He's got another podcast coming out that has been out for the past couple weeks now called Palmer's Podcast, and he has a hot dog cart and talks about all of his little things that are going on with his hot dog cart. So give those a listen. You guys have anything you guys want to sign off with?
No, thanks for having us, man.
Yeah.
All right.
Sure, it was a good time.
All right. Thank you guys, and have a good evening.
Yay.
Peace.
Thanks for tuning in and listening to me ramble at lengths about things I have no business talking about. Download Brews and Views to your favorite devices at Apple Podcast and Spotify. This is Juan Cordero, the one and only, saying cheers. Until next time.